Welcome to another exciting adventure. And go ahead, say the name of it.
Beyond the Grave.
We get one right.
It's like a week goes by that fast.
We got one right. And look who's here first. Lynn Monet. Lynn, I've missed you. And if I left off on a conversation with you on the messenger, please remind me because I like to talk to you. And then we've got Bill Walter and we've got Kimmy Corpse. What else do we need? Right?
Oh man,
What else do we need?
yeah, we got it all.
I mean, it's just great to be on here, and let's talk a little bit. Let's start out by talking a little bit about your impressions. If it's beyond the grave, let's talk a little bit about your investigation that you did in New Mexico. Let's talk about your feelings about the investigation when you were there in New Mexico. Or I don't want to put you on the spot, but
Oh,
you're under the microscope now. Woo! You see how I turn that? Not that and I'm just with him on this. So this is his show. He does a great job usually, and I'm sure he has a couple secrets there. A little later on, you see how he's going back and forth and he's looking at things. He's figuring something out there. I can tell he is. But anyway, I wanted to know what were your feelings when you were there? Were you picking up a lot of were you and Christy was she picking up things? How about that?
well, I don't know if Christy was.
How about you?
She just patiently waits for me to do what I do.
Yeah, but I mean, how about you? Were you going too fast to? Yeah, I know you pick
Yeah,
up things on each individual tombstone, so
yeah, I was moving too fast. The
we're
problem was I had we had between the viewers picking up on things that I was trying to figure out, and the fact that there's 8,000 buried there.
right.
I just didn't have enough time. I'm sitting here running all over the place trying to pick up on whoever I can. That if I find a strong voice, I was stopping there. You know,
Okay.
it wasn't really it wasn't too fair to the souls that were there, in my
Huh.
opinion. I feel like I need to go back there again and call them all into wherever I'm living, and call them into here, and the next time I go and like get to know them like I did at St. Michael's and whatnot. That way,
Right.
that way I know where I'm going.
Now, what would you do when you hit a cemetery that large? How would you break it down?
What would I do to prepare? You mean?
Yes, exactly. And how would you break it down?
Well, I would first off, I would call them all in here, and then who I picked up on, I would look them up. But almost every single
Hi,
family
Henry.
name,
How are you?
almost every single family name,
Barbara Woodbury Spear.
I would
Hi,
have
Barbara.
I would have memorized, like
Okay.
memorized.
The only reason I'm saying this is because obviously there's a big difference between your hospital or excuse me, your cemetery in Madison, uh, St. Pat's over here. There's a big difference between the sizes of the cemeteries. So look at Anthony's here. Maybe Anthony would, you know. Anyway, my thought is this, that if you were to go ahead and attack another cemetery that was that big, how many days do you think it would take before you were on the ball with it? A week, 2 weeks?
Well, I would
Hi, hi, Liz.
um
Hi, Anne Marie. Hey, Anthony.
I would have to. Well, the first thing though is I would have to know that I'm going there,
Okay,
because we
what
went
would
to
you
El
do?
Paso, I wasn't sure where I was going to end up from the moment
Okay,
I got there.
I'm not saying anything against the way you handled it. It was perfect.
Yeah, I just didn't have any time.
But you just took a particular section of it, right?
Yeah.
And kept all your time to that. And that's what I'm getting at, because a lot of people would have probably walked as far as they could and tried to talk to everybody, and that doesn't make any sense,
Well,
because number one, you
that's
wouldn't
what
have
I
enough. Go
that's
ahead.
what I would normally do, but I had a lot of like there were a lot of human beings coming into that cemetery.
Okay.
I had to keep turning it off and backing down and going over here and going over there, and and they were just, there was a lot of souls there, a whole lot of them there that I didn't get to. And that's what I why I say it wasn't really fair to them. It was on the fly. Nobody really knew I was coming until like the day of, or the
No,
day before.
no, don't you think you should give yourself a break on that, because you were on the fly? And what you do is very, very well done whenever you do it. And you were talking to them and they were responding, and you've got some good evidence on it, I'm sure. I don't know where you've got on it yet, but that's the point, is that what I'm trying to make is, if anybody in the audience is going to go ahead and try to go to a cemetery and investigate, I would, number one, myself, say I would keep it in the beginning. If this is your first cemetery, I would keep it to a smaller cemetery, one that you could handle in a day. And I would go in that cemetery on a prelim and walk the cemetery, try to pick up what you're picking up in the cemetery, look at some of the grave markers, and try to find out something about the people that are buried there.
Yeah.
Find a history of the cemetery, and that kind of thing, and then you could go ahead and you can go back and at least go in there and have an idea of what you're going to be talking about.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like over here by us, we have a cemetery that's, hey George, that has a lot of good things in it, are people that we have a history of. So I've got all the history on that one, and we've used that when we did a cemetery walk. So that was very, very interesting. But that was from the Historical Society,
Oh yeah.
and I'm the only one that did any SB7 work at the end of it with Dan Botts and with Linda. And it was pretty neat, and I still have that on my recorder, so I still haven't got to it. We've you know to do this, to try to do the filming and everything else, and recording, and then the transferring, and then the going ahead and the listening, and then by the time you get done with it, man, your head's ready to explode.
Oh yeah.
Because how many days on the average are you at that time? A week?
That I do video.
Yeah.
I work on videos every single day.
I understand that. And
Yeah.
now that you're on days, you've lost some of that time unless you're working all night on it. And
Well,
I'm sure that you
I'm
need some
working.
sleep.
I scheduled myself for 3 days off. So now I got more daytime. And so, like, I'll give you an example to everybody that's watching. I'm working on, and just so everybody's informed of this, because not this week, but next week, my intentions are to do my Thursday night live Perfectly Normal Paranormal Communications, that podcast. My intentions are to go live at St. Michael's
When?
a week from Thursday.
Not this Thursday.
No, the 22nd of June marks the three-year anniversary from the first time I went. And that happens to be on a Thursday. So if Christy's able to work it out with her job, we're going to go. If not, I mean, it might not happen. I don't know. But the type of time that I take to commemorate the souls that reach out to me, it means a lot to them. And that's why they're so open-armed, so to speak, about talking to me. Is I truly love them and care about them and get to know them. And I do things for them that they probably never expected in a million years. You know, this is one example. I'm going to be working after I go this next time. I'm going to be working on a documentary for St. Michael's. And I'm going to try to go through all 3 or 4 years in the documentary with each individual family or soul that reached out to me. So they're all going to have their own little spotlight, so to speak, on the movie, show, long video, whatever you want to call it, documentary. And I'm going to talk about like everything about them that I know, get their story kind of out there a little bit. Well, this is what I was working on today, because I was going through the three St. Michael's ones that I have so far.
Yeah.
I've still got about 20 names to add to this. But I was working on the ending credits for my documentary.
Yeah.
And anytime that somebody talks about radio signal or whatever, this is literally an aerial view of the area around that cemetery. And so it's pretty obvious it's in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, I've been working on this. This is the start. I ended on Walter Schluter, so I've still got all the W's, everything after the S's to add to this list of credits, because I'm giving them credit. They are my guests. You know, they are who I'm reaching out to, and they are special. And so I'm giving them everything I can. And this is going to be like probably the beginning, but it's also going to be the ending credits of it so far. This is just so far. I'm not done yet. Tell me what you think, guys. that'll be like the end of it.
I thought that was very, very, very good.
Yeah. And that's literally, it's the cemetery, that little circle at the beginning. This is
Did you tell the people that before?
yeah, this at the
A little bit
very beginning,
right up there. There you go.
that is the cemetery out in the middle of nowhere. That clearing, right where the in between the M and the of Michael's and the N of Lutheran is where the church used to stand. And they moved it. They moved it in 1929, leaving the cemetery there. I believe the last one, or really close to the last one that was buried there, was Walter Schluter in 1959. It was if he wasn't the last one, he was like really close to one of the last ones. And then they closed it to burials. And so that's the reason why on my live, Walter said, "I've been so lonely," was because the stones next to him are his family.
Yeah.
And they closed it to burials before they passed away. So the two stones next to him are like his granddaughter and her husband, and maybe his son and daughter stone with, they got birth years on them, birth dates on them, but they don't have any passing dates. And them stones have just been sitting there all this time with nobody there. And so Walter was buried there, and then nobody else in his family. And so he's one of the ones that that I'll be talking about a little bit. The two that are right, the stone that's right next to Walter Schluter's, I'm thinking it's his granddaughter and maybe even his great granddaughter and her husband. And when I first went to St. Michael's in 2020, they are still alive and well in Ohio at that time. So I don't know if they're still around or not, but I haven't looked them up lately. But there you go.
I got a little doll. That was a little ding that went off.
Oh,
Maybe you ought to. This is 2 hours, correct? We have 2 hours
yeah.
of unsolicited fun and games. And where else could these people possibly go and not have and possibly have this kind of fun? This is a 1 in a million chance. And I'm sure that everybody in this Georgia is going, what in heaven's name is going on tonight? Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to go ahead and pull a rabbit out of our hat, George. And, you know, we have in the past, and the information that Reggie just went ahead and let everybody have is not only informative, it gives everybody an idea of the effort that's put forth when Reggie tries to go ahead and produce that kind of film, or even the snippets that we see every week on as far as what he's been doing. And he's a genius. So, but it takes time, and it takes a lot of time for him to put forth that kind of effort to come up with that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that nobody else does that, because there's plenty of people in the business, not only here, but in many other groups that do the same kind of thing. Probably not as good, but you know, they still put in their time too. And we have to continue to try to look at it that way.
Yep.
I just saw something here. It says, "Hey guys, yeah, in my hometown they cut off new burials 30 years ago because of overcrowding. Unless you already bought a plot, the graves are on top of each other. Next time I'm up, I'll do a live." I don't know who that Facebook user is. Do you?
No.
Do we have any idea who the Facebook user is? Will the Facebook user please stand up?
Now you're quoting Eminem.
No, I didn't. M and who?
Well, a real Slim Shady, please stand
He
up.
says Joshua. Who's Joshua?
Is that Joshua Dixon?
Josh, is that you?
It's showing you his Facebook user.
Yeah, another one of those StreamYard things. I thought you were on the last time you were on. It showed your picture. Are they screwing around or what?
Yeah, it's Josh Dixon.
Oh, good to have you, Josh. I wonder if we could get him on. You want to bring him on? Maybe he can talk about his place
Sure.
or not.
I don't mind.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
gotta see if I can find him.
He's easy to find.
No, I've got a lot of messages, so I have to kind of look up people.
And we brought up other people before. So I mean, we had Barbara on here, or we had Barbara, didn't we?
Yeah. Well,
Who else
Joshua, I just sent you a link into our StreamYard. I've never had you on a show before. If you'd like to come in, you can. I sent you a link, Joshua.
It would be great to talk to him. I haven't talked to him either, like, one-on-one type thing.
And so I sent you one, and
Did you see the message that was left from our other friend about dinner?
yeah.
Maybe you want me to tell him after he gets done or not?
Oh, he'll probably come in. If I had to guess.
If you hadn't guessed.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a Anthony you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a podcast fanatic. He's addicted to them. So I'm sure he'll come in.
Did you send him one?
Huh?
Did you send him a link?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What are we missing that we haven't had?
I don't know. Just kind of looking around here.
We had Anne Marie Young on, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. How about number 1 at the top? For a few minutes?
Oh hey Linda.
I'm just thinking out loud.
I was just trying to. I'm looking.
You see who I'm talking about? at the top.
No, I don't know what you mean by at the top. I've got like 9 lists in front of me. I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
How about Lynn Monet? I know this is getting. And then the next time we do this, I think we have a couple other people in here that we should probably see if they'd like to join us just to get their thoughts, get to see them, say hi. We had like how many people on last week? 4 or 5, right? Did we have Linda Kruger on?
I don't remember. You're throwing all these names at me while I'm looking at a list of names.
I understand. That's why you're in charge of the board and I'm not.
Right. I'm having to go down a list here. I'm trying to.
Because you can handle that, Reggie.
I'm going to tell you what I do. You know how I say I always wing it?
Yep.
I'm looking for anyone with an active green light. And then I'm sending them a link.
An active green light.
If they got a green light and they're active now, I'm sending them a link.
That means go compared to stop if it's
that
just
means
a red
they're
light.
Active.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, it says active now with a green light.
Does it? You know more of this. You know more about this stuff than I do. Linda Kruger's active. Barbara Woodbury Spear. You see what Barbara says? She says, Reggie, do you need a secretary? I can come out of retirement. I think there's an ulterior motive there for some reason.
Who said that?
Barbara.
There's 8 billion people in the
that are named Barbara.
World.
That are named Barbara. Barbara Woodbury Spear.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is if she wants to be my secretary, that's fine. But the population stays between 7 and 8 billion, which means that many people pass away every day that are born every day. And that's what you'd have to keep control. That's what you'd have to do as my secretary is log every single passed away person for the last 30,000 years.
Doesn't sound like a good job, Barbara. For some reason.
So I can keep up with them.
So who are we waiting on? Are we waiting on how many links do we have out? 2?
I'm doing it slowly. I'm trying to get a couple people's attention that are kind of famous in this world.
Famous.
I'm trying to land some real hard-hitting
what?
Hard-hitting paranormal people.
How much more can you ask for?
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking. Hold on a minute.
Who is this? BDUBBS for real. Who is that?
Hold on, I gotta click over to the thing and look.
Brian Wells. Okay.
Oh.
Brian Wells is here. There you go.
Oh, maybe use AI for that.
Huh?
He said maybe use AI for that. Artificial intelligence.
I used to go through the bitch. Oh, God. I don't even want to think about that. Dr. Miss Love, or Dr. Lynch. See, George has got a good sense of humor. There's another one you could get.
Yeah, I'm just randomly. Let me.
See if they want to come on. They want to come on. They come on. Either they do or they don't, right? We certainly can go ahead and mention a few other shows, though, can't we?
Yeah.
We could talk about, well, on Wednesday it's Metaphysical Crossing, and that's on Shadowhunter's page, and that's my show, one of my shows, and that deals with, as we know, Estes method, and basically mostly all ITC, and that's on Wednesday nights. Thursday nights is perfectly normal paranormal communication, which we really don't know anything about. And I'll just throw that out, right, Reg?
Okay.
I think we've done a really good job on that show. And there's people that I miss. There's people I miss in the community right now, and I just got a message from one of them, and that's Mr. Greg Bakken. No, he won't. Wait a minute. Give me a minute. You start talking.
Oh, okay. Well, I found one. I found one.
Go ahead.
I'm going to surprise everybody with them. I got one saying he's on his way. Give him a minute. And everybody, or a lot of people, know who he is. Needs no real introduction. Hey, Marilyn.
Is he the president? No.
Who, the president?
No.
I don't know if I'd have him on or not.
Okay. I didn't bring it up for you to say that. He's still the president, whether we like it or not.
I know.
GP2. Linda Kruger.
Well, that would be for any president. I don't think I'd have him on, because
Are you having Linda Kruger on?
if the government were to find out what I can do, they'd be putting me in a room doing experiments on me.
I know. They would. And now we got Mary Lynn Bast.
Oh, yeah.
She just showed up.
Yeah, I just said hi.
Hey, Mary Lynn. You did? I didn't even hear you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have quite an amazing person that is on their way here. And I'm just waiting for him to show up in the background.
Do we all know him?
Yep. All the viewers we have now know him. Uh-oh. Black SUV's rolling up to my house. That's okay, though. That's okay. If they came after me, if it was Men in Black, for example, they're
Beyond the grave. Beyond the grave.
They're aliens anyway. If you hand them an everyday item, they'll just look at it funny, like they don't know what it is.
We could.
Yeah.
Oh, now I figured it out.
I'm not even worried about it.
Now that I
And
see,
then in black.
now I see what he said.
Chances are I'm related to him. And so
Hey, what's he have to change his shirt because he got ketchup on it or something?
stare at the pin. That's funny. That's funny. They wouldn't erase my memory.
Where's Dan Botts at? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Linda's
You
there.
got him coming?
I don't think Danny would come on.
We could get a whole panel on here if we wanted to.
We could get Linda Kruger on.
You feel like coming on, Linda?
Send her a link. But we got to keep it. We got to keep it on the straight. We're not going to get carried away.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, we got our whole show covered if this man shows up. This guy, I don't want to say his name. I want to just like wait for him to show up and then bring him in. Let me see. I am looking for Linda Kruger on my friends or on my messenger list. But I'm going to send you a link, Linda. And she put in comments there that Danny's sitting right next to her.
She says, I'm on my phone.
That's fine. Hook it to a charger and come on with your phone.
There you go.
Man, I haven't messaged you in a while.
And don't look the wires either, Linda, before you plug it in.
Man, where are you? Hold on a minute. I got to look you up. I got to figure out where you are on my list here.
Poor Greg. Anthony says, poor Greg who is wondering who. Well, then it has to be.
All right. There you go. I sent one to Linda Kruger.
Did you send one to Lynn Monet?
Oh, here we go. Here's the start of our show. Mr. Joshua Dixon.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good. It's nice to be on. Pretty good.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
How's everything going?
Hanging in there, you know. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing. We got a little rain today, so that's going to go ahead and help out considerably with the gardens and everything.
I hear you, yeah.
And we were almost parched.
I saw your hot, as usual. Yeah, you need the rain for your above ground garden. I saw that like a week ago. You're doing that was pretty cool.
That's the keeper of the house's garden. I used to have mine on the ground, and then the missus asked for raised garden beds. So
did you build them? Did you build those?
My sons did.
Awesome.
They're like carpenters, but they're not.
Bringing in our next guest as well.
We've done a lot of building, so over the years, I couldn't do it anymore. So
I'd like to present to everyone Mr. Dr. Michael Lynch.
Holy cow,
How are you doing?
Doing okay. Can you hear me? Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for inviting me. I was just I've been out of town for about 4 days, and so I had some catching up to do, and so you kind of caught me here in between emails, but I'm okay.
We've got for everybody in the group, and everybody pretty much knows Dr. Lynch and Joshua Dixon. You know, it's just great to have these guys on. And
Thank you, guys.
Obviously, we weren't carrying the show properly, so we had to go ahead and go outside the bounds.
What? You guys
bring
are
in
the
some-
greatest.
I
Yeah,
always,
no, the check will be in the mail for
I
both
always
you
wing
guys.
it. I just do everything at the last minute.
Reggie's paying. I got
talk
nothing
to
to do with it.
Spirit,
I'll
and
let
so
you
I
know,
can't really,
up front.
determine
Rotten
what
Tomatoes.
guest is actually going to show up on what night. Talking to Spirit all the time. Can't really schedule them too well.
He blames it on Spirit. You see?
The problem with working with Spirit is that everything is now. It's now. So there is no time in that state of energy. There's no time because you're moving at the speed of light. You are light itself. Yep. And so everything is in the now. And so you'll talk to one of your guides or a ghost or somebody. I know Reginald, he talks to a lot of them, and you ask them a question like something. You just ask them a question and they'll say, "Oh yeah," and they'll just refer to it just immediately. And so I got to the point of saying, "Are you looking at the stream of time? Are you looking at the stream of time?" And they go, "Yeah, we can see that." And they can tell you what happened 1,000,000 years ago, the same as that they'll tell you what's happening right now. So sometimes you got to nail them down on what they're seeing and when they're seeing it. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, that's been my
I had Dora
experience.
Dora at St. Michael's take me back. And when she asked if I could get the child to breathe, get her baby to breathe again, that would be taking me back to, back then, when she lost her kid.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. There is no time over there. There is a stream of time.
Right.
Because we in particle reality, we are bound by particle decomposition, particle decay. We're bound by that. And particle decay is our flow of time and understanding. Okay. So they don't understand that because their lives don't end. There's no end to our lives. There's no end to their energy, you see. And it's just a big infinite loop all the way through. And a lot of times when I first got into the field, I did not understand that. It took me a long time for me to understand that I was governed by particle decay and they were governed by infinite energy. Infinite energy, you know what I'm saying? So it's I'm not unintelligent, I'm just a little slow,
No, you're not.
So
but do you think that some of them are not just going through what they went through in their lifetimes, that some are intelligent and are aware of what's going on around present day in certain times?
Oh yeah, they know. Like you can ask them, like I ask them a lot of things, about say Donald Trump. He's in the news right now, or Vladimir Putin.
Okay, let's talk about Vladimir.
Yeah, I just grab names out of the news.
Yeah, I hear you.
And they talk to me like it's already been done. It's already happened. But then
in many ways it has.
Yeah, and so then I get into the discussion about a malleable or flexible. The timeline, is it fixed, or does it have flexibility in it? And and they'll tell me that it has flexibility. It's not permanently set, but there's a broad band of issues that are. And then there are some things that are not. And so these things can change. The date, the time, the severity, the number of people injured in a bus accident or a train accident, that is all a variable. Okay. And this is where I get into the argument of quantum science, because okay, if you cannot quantify it, it cannot be a science. You see what I'm saying? And so
I love it.
So time itself doesn't exist. We don't exist. Time does not exist. It's a construct. We've created that. And
Exactly.
So what we're looking at is the creator's concept of particle reality. And the creator is all energy. So even the creator can change his mind and change our reality through particle decay or particle physics. And it changes. It's malleable. And he set it up that way. But at the same time, what makes me nervous is that we have to, like Reginald, we have to work on both sides of the fence to get the real psychology of what's going on so that we can quantify it, you know?
Yeah.
And this is the thing. People have a near-death experience. They go to the other side, right? And they talk about happiness and joy and feeling the love and getting understanding, okay? Well, that's all energy, man. That's just downloading energy, just like you're downloading, you're copying files on your computer. It's just like copying files into files. And our problem has always been that we're on this side of the fence, and so we have to deal with it. We have to deal with what's on this side, and that's very hard to translate what we have into pure energy. But pure energy is where everything is. That's where it all begins, and that's where it all ends.
But it doesn't end. But it doesn't end.
It doesn't end. I'm sorry, it doesn't end.
I apologize.
I know what you meant. I know what you
I
meant.
apologize for interrupting.
Oh yeah.
But I had another guest drop in backstage. I want to present everybody Mr. Dan Norville of Expedition Entity.
Holy cow.
Hey guys,
Hey, how you doing?
what's going on?
Just
Do you know
hanging out.
everybody in the room?
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
Do you know everybody in the room?
I do not,
You might not know me, so that's okay.
Okay. That's the
and I'm
gentleman.
so sorry.
up
It's
in-
so hard to hear you guys tonight.
Okay, it's the gentleman up in the right-hand corner is Mr. Joshua Dixon.
Hi,
Up
Josh.
there.
Nice to meet you.
And then the man with the kaleidoscope behind him is Dr. Mike Lynch.
That's consciousness. That's
How you
consciousness.
doing?
Good. Okay. Good.
Oh,
Okay.
Very good.
we got one more coming in. Mr. Anthony.
Oh, look at this.
Anthony
Look at it.
Zamalos.
The Wraith Prince. What's
The
going
Wraith
on?
Prince is here.
What's up, man?
Everybody.
What's going on, Josh?
You know, I wonder, Greg, if I logged off because I'm on my phone and tried this on my computer if I could hear you guys better.
Okay.
Maybe
Go ahead, I'll
do you
be
have
watching
earphones on? Try
background.
the earphones.
I don't have any headphones for this,
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
and I'm
probably why.
actually gonna get rid of this phone, so I don't want to spend anything extra on it. But let me
I
try
hear
on
ya.
the computer, guys.
Okay.
You got the
All right,
same
sounds
link.
good.
Pop back in.
We'll see you in a minute.
All right.
Cool.
Bye-bye. So
All
Anthony's
right.
here too.
Yep.
What's up? What's up?
I have been
Anthony,
summoned.
Ray
Anthony.
Brent's in the house.
You know everybody?
Quite a-
The Reg summoned me.
Do you know everybody else that's in the room?
Oh yeah, I know Mr. Josh and I know Mr. Greg and Reggie, and I haven't met Michael, but I have seen him before and I've heard his theories, so I can pick his brain now.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
I'll tell you
I'm
what,
still trying.
Michael, one of my favorite things when you're talking about like physics and all that, one of the most favorite things I ever heard from you was prove gravity.
Yeah. I was arguing with Michael Schumer, the noted skeptic of Skeptic magazine. And we got on to evidence. We got on to chain of evidence and evidence. And he goes, there's just no evidence of the afterlife. There's just no evidence of ghosts. I mean, he was just saying this. He was just saying this. And so I said, well, Mike, how many ghost hunts have you been on? None. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. And I go, well, Mike, I guess you don't believe in gravity either, because there's no evidence for it, and I cannot put it in your hand.
Exactly.
So he's not a skeptic. He's not a skeptic. He's an atheist, meaning he doesn't believe in anything. He does not believe in anything. A skeptic sits on the fence. Okay?
Exactly.
And if you have the right evidence, you'll sway him. That's a skeptic. You know, I'm not sure until you present the evidence. And then once the evidence is solid and is presented, even a skeptic, even an atheist would have to sit there and say, okay, it's true. I believe in this, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And even with Einstein, even with the best that we've got today, they're not coming into the realm of understanding gravity. They understand mass. Does mass equal gravity? No, it does not. Does mass equal a gravitational field? In a way, it kind of does, but not in every case, not all the time. And so even a skeptic can't prove that gravity works. Not even a skeptic. So I sit there and tell Mike Schumer, I said, you know, Mike, there's thousands. I mean, I can't count them all. Thousands of people all over the world: Switzerland, Germany, America, Australia, France, you know, a couple other places.
Japan.
Yeah, they're all looking for consciousness. They're all looking for consciousness. And they're all like writing these papers. And they got these college kids with these EEGs, you know, stuck to their head. And they're saying, oh, we're going to find consciousness. We're going to find it. We're going to narrow it down, and we're going to find it. I just sit there and laugh. I said, no, you're not going to find it this way. What they are doing is looking at the symptoms of consciousness.
I give them an A for effort. But at least trying. You know?
They're trying. They're getting the financing to do it. I agree. They're getting the financing, but I'm telling you, down deep, man, until they go ghost hunting, they don't know what consciousness is. Until they do what Reggie does over here, they don't understand energy. They don't understand energy. The ability.
God, Reggie is such a light worker, man. He's such a light worker. It's amazing what he can do. I mean it.
Yeah, you got to have. Okay, there's two things. There's two things in paranormal investigations you got to understand. Yeah.
Dinner.
Okay. Well, I'm on the line right now, so anyway, I'll get that a little bit later. Okay. So
I'll go eat your dinner.
One. That's all. So anyway, so the whole idea is that you can study consciousness right out of the textbook, and they've got neurobiologists and neurochemists and neuroanatomists to tell you everything that goes on up here, right? But they don't understand consciousness. They're looking at the after effect of consciousness. So if I stick myself with a pin, there's a sensor in my brain that goes pain, you know,
Yep.
and the feedback loop is right here. Okay, that's just saying that I'm cognitive. I'm cognizant. That doesn't mean I'm conscious. I could be asleep. I could be
So
asleep,
true.
coma, and you can stick me with a pin. It will still go off. I'll still have that, but that doesn't mean I'm conscious or aware. It just means the feedback loop is complete. Okay. So if our
Is that
motive,
is that like cognitive dissonance or whatever that
Yeah.
word is?
yeah, you can believe what you want, and you don't have to believe anything else you don't want to believe.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? That's the cognitive dissonance. If I don't think oxygen is real, then I don't have to believe in it.
Yeah.
But then I could suffocate too. You know what I'm saying? So my argument is, are you really breathing the oxygen in that room?
Exactly.
And I can tell you, you don't have to. You don't. Consciousness does not breathe oxygen. Consciousness does not sleep, eat, or go to the bathroom. Consciousness is pure energy. You see, EVPs are pure energy. They're just energy, signal. They're a signal. Okay. You can't
Right.
get that out of particle matter. Not unless you're telepathic. Okay.
Have you seen any of my pure energy videos?
No, not yet. No.
Have you ever seen the Dora video or the Wilma playing the piano?
No, I haven't seen that
Okay,
one.
and I'm sure Dan hasn't seen any of these. I'm gonna go ahead and play Dora, and I plan on going live at St. Michael's Cemetery a week from Thursday on the 22nd of June on my
22nd.
show.
Okay.
And the piano one, I'll play that one next, but this one with Dora, they're both from the same cemetery. I've only been there three times, and this is Miss Dora Wendis.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you so much. We may get in the car here in a minute. I love you so much. At St. Michael's, who was it that said, "I don't know why, I'm just a fool"? Very beautiful lady's voice.
I thought I heard a faint Dora.
I got a lot of extraterrestrial talking, but I'm spotlighting Dora.
It was you?
Now check this out.
I'll talk to you soon. You guys know where I live. Dorothy Windus? Dorothy, Dora Windus? Are you here?
Yeah.
Is this your son, Stone Albert?
This is where she takes me back in time. Just a little bit.
Oh, that's sad.
Dora, was that you?
And then her husband says I can't.
And this today we discovered is Albert. Albert was 2 months old. It's Dorothea and Gottlieb's son that passed at 2 months old. You guys know where I live. Are you here?
Yeah.
Is this your son, Stone, Albert?
It's a child. Please. Who's laughing?
I'm getting chills from that. That's
Yeah,
I love Dora too.
like special videos. All the stuff.
Everybody loves Dora.
Dora's amazing, and Gottlieb is too, but he's very short spoken. He just says like something real quick here and there. And I recognize their voices every year. The 3 times I've been there, it's the same exact voices all 3 years. I talked to over 40 of them, and there's 74 in the cemetery. My star family comes in and starts bringing them in. This one here, this is something that you don't hear every day. Again, I've only been there 3 times, and the first time that I went, and this is where I'm going live next week. Okay.
I was just gonna say that's a lot. That's a lot of response for 3 times. That's a lot of responses.
And then they come home with me too. I've had Wilma playing her piano on mine and Greg's podcast.
I saw that one. That was crazy.
I've been there 3 times, and the first time I went, when I was going through the Roters, their family, Emma, Pauline, and Carl, their children all passed away within 3 days apart. The girls were on the same day in February of 1881, and then February 26th, and then Carl was in March. I'm still not clear on how they went, but the family's gotten real close to me. I brought the kids little rubber duckies. I got video of that, and to put on their stone. But when I went through the first time, I heard a piano playing. The second year I went over the same area, I caught on it was Wilma. I heard a piano playing again. So the third time I went, I actually thought maybe it would be like really cool to like put a song together with the spirit from over 100 years ago. I offered to try to write a song with her on the piano and me on the guitar, and she just lit it up. The third year, I asked her to play more for me to add to the song, and she sure did. Here you go. This is music. Oh, you're gonna read it. It's been waiting so long to share her music, and I caught on and let it happen. Or she let it happen. And she was happy. And I'm all excited. I'm gonna get some more piano and everything. You're gonna hear how they completely talk, like in real time. Right away.
It's a beautiful piano.
Yeah, I got tribute videos for a lot of these folks here. All right, I just hit record on my camera again. You can see Christy in the background. Pauline, Emma, Carl, Wilma, Albert.
What about
I love you. Hi. I've missed everybody here. How have you been, sir? Can you try doing another piano part for me? I loved it. I heard a piano playing a couple of times walking through here. And I thought about doing a duet with you on my guitar.
I'll be in progress.
Is that good? That sound good? It's very a happy thing. I love you guys so much. Is Carl, Emma, and Pauline here? Play me another one, Wilma. I heard that. Can you do it again? Beautiful. That'll be part of the song. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God. That was amazing. Oh my God. Thank you so much. You want to add anything more? Did you say next week? I don't think I can get back here next week. Oh, thank you.
Here's
Keep playing it. Oh, that is amazing. Again? Oh, thank you. What do you think of that?
Everybody's in love with Wilma now.
Oh my goodness. This Wilma. Yeah, she's amazing.
So what do you think about that, Mr. Norval?
It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I got kind of a
I mean, it's
now.
hard to go ahead and compare this end with what you guys do.
Well,
That's for sure.
We've caught some pretty interesting stuff, and we're going to be trying new stuff in the future. I think one of the best SB7 results we've ever got, Greg, was out at Major Stillman's camping site, where I asked one of the Black Hawk Warriors, I said, "What did you do to the men at the battleground?" and it clearly comes across scalp, and that's exactly what they did. They scalped those men.
Wow.
Without, you know,
It's pretty clear.
and you let everybody know what you guys do.
I am the lead investigator for Expedition Entity on Paraflix. But for years before that, I led Small Town Paranormal and then the Ghost Hunter Dan Norvell project. And my partner Larry and I really got into researching the Black Hawk War sites, and the first battle of the Black Hawk War was literally kicked off 13 miles from my house. And it's just been awesome to come in contact with those men and talk to them, and grow a kinship with them, really. And Captain John Giles Adams, I mean, he shows up at our investigations all the time, and it's been really cool. There's definitely a shared respect between them and us, and I've gotten to take Greg there. It's a great site. It is a cemetery, but it's also a park, and so you can be in there at 3 a.m. and thankfully, because I'm a deputy, I don't get arrested and kicked out of there, so that really helps. So it's just a great site with a very tragic history. But every time most of the time, every time we go there, it's a very positive experience. Sometimes the elemental that's there doesn't really like us being there and lets us know. But for the most part, it's always a positive experience. So,
well,
That's awesome.
that's what's really important too, is the fact that, you're quite a historian, and you do present a very beautiful package when you go ahead and tell and give all the information pertaining to the site. I was very impressed with what you had said when I was there with you. And I can remember going over to the Lincoln, and this is the big part. There's a statue of Abraham Lincoln there, and I had no idea it was Abraham Lincoln because he was 20 years old.
Yep.
And he was a lieutenant, and he was lieutenant in the militia, correct?
He was actually a captain.
Captain in the militia. And his detail, or his job, was to bury the militiamen that were massacred by Black Hawk.
Yes. Captain Lincoln.
Wow, I never knew that. Wow.
Captain Lincoln's regiment was always a day late and $1 short for seeing the action, but they buried all the men at Stillman Valley, and they also buried all the men at Kent. And then like 2 weeks later, he was discharged.
So you could see down the road, when they always talked about the White House and Lincoln, about Lincoln having all these ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not put a shadow of doubt. And I was thinking about this very thing last week was, his wife was always concerned about him because she knew of the presence of the men that were around him, even in the White House. And they were his men. They were the militia, without a doubt. So
right.
I wanted to touch base and give you a moment, to share, let everybody know who you are and what you're all about. And,
I wish I could stay longer. My son just brought me some dinner because
some chicken wings.
Yeah, I'm on call right now for work, so this has been my first day off in about 7. So
I'm glad I got the opportunity.
Nice meeting you, man.
An absolute.
And that's Dr. Michael Lynch, and that's Josh Dickinson.
Well, I look forward to talking to you guys more.
Dixon.
All you guys more in the future. Just hit me up on Facebook.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'd love to. So, but you guys all have a great night. Thank you so much for inviting me on, and I'll be looking for you guys soon.
And you know Anthony in the middle, right?
For being here, Dan. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, wait. Dan, what team are you on? What team are you on? Do you have a team, or are you private investigator?
Actually, we have a cast. We're on Expedition Entity on Paraflix.
All right, I'm so totally going to check that out. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. You guys take care. I look forward to talking to you all in the future.
Oh yeah.
You remember,
Have a good night.
you know Anthony too, right?
That's the first time I've met him.
I've not met Anthony, but yeah, guys, hit me up. Like I said, I'm pretty busy right now, but I know you all are too. But
I don't want to keep you. I don't want to keep you from eating.
Oh, no
Get mad at
problem.
me.
I can go without a few meals, Greg. But you guys, take
But
care.
especially if you don't call, yeah.
It's great
Yeah.
having you on. Thank you very
It was
much.
great
Thank you
being here.
so much.
It
Take
was.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
That's a real bonus to have him on. That's for sure.
Yeah, what a great guy. He seems like such a great guy.
Oh yeah.
He's an awesome guy. He doesn't hold a candle to Dr. Michael Lynch or to Anthony.
Oh, Dr. Michael Lynch is my hero.
Anthony's my hero. Plus, well, Dr.
Yeah, all my heroes.
He's always been my hero, but
I always say all souls are created equal. So
oh, boy, here we go. But I'm trying to find out where Dr. Michael came up with that background he's got behind him. It's almost celestial.
That's your
It's
consciousness.
psychedelic.
That's my consciousness.
Let's scoot over. That's your
Oh, man.
consciousness. This is your central matrix right here.
Wow.
Full me.
Yeah, it's your
I
central
didn't know if
matrix.
I had a
It's
central
It's
matrix.
the nucleus. It's the nucleus of your consciousness.
Okay.
And then around it, the pink and magenta coloring,
Purple, right? Yeah.
red, that is data. That's information that's coming into your nucleus or your central matrix, and it is digesting. I'm having difficult words, but it's digesting information. It's processing information.
And storing it too. And storing
it.
it.
Stores it, and it does not forget it. So lifetime after lifetime, this is it. This is it. If you want to be a full-bodied apparition, you have to have this first. If you want to be a mist or a globule or whatever you want to call yourself, you have to have this first.
That is fascinating to me. That is fascinating.
Now, everyone has this. Now, when you die, as we all know, we will come out of our body. This energy comes out of the body. Some people say it pops out of their head and they hear a popping sound. They actually hear a popping sound. Some people say it comes out of their solar plexus and they don't hear the popping sound, but it's almost the same thing. And so when we got into this investigations, there was no data at the time that we threw out. I threw nothing out. Everything was germane. Everything was poignant. And so you could specialize, like Reginald is specialized, like Greg is specialized, or you can be a generic kind of investigator like I used to be.
I'm more freelance.
Yeah, freelance. And so when you come across something, you have to sit down and analyze it. Now, the argument that I have had over the past close to 30 years is that there's not enough quality evidence to prove any of this paranormal stuff. And I'm sorry to tell most of the ridiculous skeptics out there that there's more than enough. There are volumes of this, and it started more than 2,000 years ago. Plato talked about it.
Exactly.
There are so many different philosophers, theologians, prophets throughout time that all are related to the paranormal. It's connected part and parcel to the paranormal. You can't escape it.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's so true.
And
so freaking true.
And so a lot of times, after you get into the field a few years, you want to specialize. Like you just want to do EVPs. Well, you go out and you buy all the equipment for EVPs. You buy the best audio mixer, the best computer software. You buy everything, and then you just sit down and 8 hours a day or 20 hours a day. You go
I
through,
work, so I can't do that.
you go through all that process, and that evidence, when that evidence is there and it's crystal clear, there is no denying that it is a sound file. It is a real, tangible sound file. Okay.
Right.
Now, a voice is one thing. A piano is something different because they create the piano in their mind. They've got it all memorized because of this thing right here. This central nucleus of your consciousness
That's
projects
amazing.
the sound of the piano.
That's
And then that's
amazing.
how you have sound.
I was wondering how the hell they went ahead and played a piano and where they got it from
It's memory.
when they were
It's their memory.
spirits, you know.
Yeah.
Just just bring it into their home or what?
Yeah, they just have it right there. Now look. Now we're all here on the same screen, on the same show, but we're hundreds of miles apart. We all know we're hundreds of miles apart. Okay, but what Reginald does is prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're all in the same room. So
Exactly.
they're not millions of miles away. They're right there with Reginald. You see what I'm saying? Now they can transmit a pretty good distance, but they're going to be right there in the room. When he is in his room, they know it because they're there. That we're all in the same room. You see what I'm saying? We're not separated. They're not separated.
Yep.
They
No,
are all.
I-
We're all in the same room. We're just in different particle frequency differentials. We're in differentials. So
Absolutely. God, I couldn't agree more.
Nikola Tesla said everything is vibration. Everything is a quantitative vibration. Now, okay, I'll stop talking here in a second. When we're
No,
talking
you're
about
fine.
quantum physics, okay, it only applies to one
Service
area
manager.
of paranormal investigations, and that is the consciousness itself. If there is no loss of energy, and it's not endothermic energy, if it's just energy without loss of heat, without a change of a dynamic or amplitude, then it is quantitatively immortal. Quantitatively immortal, because we can quantitate the energy inside of a consciousness. So it's immortal. Okay. Now that's where that ends. Quantitative analysis ends. Everything else comes up a different energy, and it is streamlined to be the
I'll be right back. Gotta take my note.
most efficient form of energy that you can have. But this character right here has baffled me for about 10 or 15 years, and I'm still trying to put the screws to it. And it is, it's difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. But once the central matrix transmits sound, what we think is sound, it's a transmission wave that can be recorded. It can be recorded. It can be processed on a computer, and that's a electromagnetic pulse more than it is a electromagnetic voice phenomenon. It's maybe the pulse of energy. So
what would happen? What would happen if, say, for instance, Reggie was doing a live broadcast like he did down in New Mexico, down by Anthony,
right?
And now that was broadcast, and it came up to here. Say, for instance, to me on my show, he was broadcasting live, and he was going to be on my show.
Right.
Now I have headphones on, and I have a spirit box going myself. Now that would magnify the amount of spirit, correct, of what would be picked up on the way.
Yeah, you hope that's magnified or at least amplified, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. Now here is the backdoor crux to this whole thing. If Reggie has a device that works for him, his body, his spirit, his consciousness is going to tune that device for it to pick up those voices. And he's going to do that subconsciously. His body and his conscious mind is going to tune that device for it to work only for him.
Right.
Okay. So if Reggie's now if he's transmitting and it has all of the bandwidth, then you should be able to pick it up too, and you should be able to amplify all of the information that comes through, all the data that comes through. Okay, but you can't direct it. It's indirectable. The conscious mind that transmits the signal is the director of the information. Okay, it's twofold. And I'm so old that I remember CB radios. And this is the way CB radios used to work. And this is very similar to consciousness. You have a signal, and your voice is in that signal. But sometimes on CB radio, you get the click, but there's no voice. So the signal is reaching you, but the information in that signal dropped out or got corrupted, and it couldn't make it all the way. So you have to amplify that up, or you have to change the voice gain.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
And so when you do the voice gain, your voice actually makes the connection with the signal. So we're looking at this two different ways. The information you're seeking is the data by the voice. The signal is going to be there, but you may not be able to find it. That's why when you do the scanning, looking for the frequencies,
signal or whatever,
yeah, you're going to get the signal, okay, but are you going to get the data inside the signal? So that's why a voice.
Not always with CB.
Right, and that's why the voice sometimes is soft or it's loud. It's because that information has made it into the signal and is reaching your device to record it. So you have twofold. You have the thought, that's the transmission, and then you have the information inside the transmission. And then that is what you're going to record.
And the reception. Because sometimes it doesn't reach, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now again, I'm sorry.
And I meant that receiving the message,
Yeah. Now I'm not an audiophile. I'm not an audiophile. So forgive me if some of my audio terms are not, exact. But I have been able to go in with my EVPs and clean them up quite a bit. Take out the white noise, take out this, and take out that, and we get something. Okay. And we just hope that that's what they meant by it. So we get a voice. The voice says something. And is that what they really meant when they transmit it? The other thing is that you don't know. Again, you have to quantify the information, so you don't know exactly, if they're talking to you or if they're talking to somebody else that's there. Who are they talking to?
Yeah,
and we've had that on investigation. We went into a house, we recorded this old woman, and she was talking, but she wasn't talking to any of us. She was talking to another entity in the room.
Yeah, some of the best recordings I have.
That's the interesting part about it. Yes.
Nobody has ever heard them. I haven't released them, but I used to record white noise. Like I would have the SB7 running, and where I could not hear it, but I would be recording it while I was asleep. And you can hear spirit coming in. Is Reggie here? No, he's dreaming right now. Or he's asleep.
That's crazy, man.
You hear them talking to each other all night long. all night
Yeah.
long.
Now, of
That's
course,
crazy.
they're telepathic. They're instantly telepathic. So
Yep.
they can determine what you're dreaming about in a strange way.
Yeah.
But they're so telepathic that they can be in the same room just watching you, or they could be a couple miles away and they're just watching you. And so
Yep.
it gets pretty interesting.
Now I want to show a couple of videos because he just mentioned telepathic and all that. First one, this right here will demonstrate, and everybody here has seen this video before, except maybe Michael.
Yeah.
Will
Anthony,
demonstrate that we are all in the same room.
Right.
I was at home, and Chris Carr and Greg Koss and Kristen Johnson were doing a podcast calling on Elizabeth Borden, and I asked her to do me a favor, and my security cameras caught me asking in real time with her doing it for me, and at 3 different locations. It's kind of cool because I'm not actually part of the podcast.
Oh snap! I haven't seen this.
What was the house here until I was living in? Nora, the house on 2nd Street in Fall River or Maplecroft?
We like to set the record straight. We come in love and light and mean you no harm. We are just curious.
Actually, I guess I did.
Same voice, 2 separate locations. Now here's where I come in.
Can you tell us? I know you've been asked this a lot. But who did it?
Did they say the right?
Hey, honey. Spirit, can you have Melissa say my name through the box so they can hear it? That'd be really cool. Did you just say Reginald?
All in the same room.
That's right. We're not really separated by time nor space because time doesn't exist because they're moving at the speed of light. Their energy, they have infinite time, and we only have time through particle decay. But we're not separated. We're not as separated as a lot of people think we are. And consciousness is everywhere. I'm just going to say that consciousness is.
Oh, I'm going to kill you. Sorry.
And that's what's so
Somebody's
amazing
dead.
about it. Now, I don't use the scanner or the spirit box like other people do. I have a different method on doing this, but let's just say that communication in that realm is via instantaneously. It's instantaneous communication. So whatever medium that they're using to communicate, to exist in, has got to propagate or amplify. It's the same dimension. It's the same dimension. It's a different frequency. But the energy that they're in has got to amplify or propagate the signal inside the transmission. And that is all just thought. That's all thought energy. So that's what makes it so unique, is that we're not dealing with a CB or ham radio. we're dealing with something that's like that, but it's all in from the mind. It's all from the mind, the consciousness.
Well, the point I was trying to make earlier is the fact that if everybody's doing the Estes at the same time,
right,
with one moderator asking the questions, but you have the two different locations, like from here to Minneapolis or from here to Missouri, and that when you get the answers can come from either one of them.
Right.
But the
right.
questions are asked directly. So my point was, I thought it was the magnification, and you said it was what?
It's intent. It's the intent in the signal, not the amplification of it. It's the data inside of it. Can the voice get there and register? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So here's a little experiment that I have done lately. I didn't mean to do it, but you know how accidents happen. So,
well, you are Dr. Michael Lynn, so.
So I'm on the fringe, man. So don't think I'm sane. If
he opens up his coat and says,
you got another thing coming.
Here's my badge, and this is my black bag.
That's right. I got my sunglasses right here. These are not my official sunglasses, but the ones I like wearing these more than anybody else. So, but anyway, so when you talk telepathically to someone, it does not matter the distance of the people. It only matters if you're receiving the information. So if you wanted to talk to somebody, on Mars, it's going to take 20 minutes for radio frequency to get there. And then it's going to take another 20 minutes for that to come back. Okay, that's 40 minutes.
That's not bad for Mars.
That's as good as we can get it. But if you do it telepathically, it becomes instantaneous. There is no delay or wait.
Oh, I agree totally with that. It's the truth.
Now let's push that out further. Let's say you're traveling at Warp Drive and you and Mr. Scott are trying to go Warp 10 or whatever. There's no way that you can communicate with a stationary fixed object, kind of like the Earth, traveling at that speed and be in some type of communication with it. It just won't work with RF. So what did they do on Star Trek? They made it subspace frequency, subspace. It's subspace. Well, what if you took all of your information?
Oh gosh, no.
And you plugged it into a telepath, okay? And so the Captain Kirk would say, send a message to Starfleet. The telepath would telepathically transmit that information. To another
directly to the brain.
Right, to another telepath on Earth. It would arrive instantaneously, and you don't need subspace. So is telepathy?
That's why I believe
subspace. Is telepathy subspace communication?
I believe it is, and I believe it is, and I believe you can telepathically do that with a living and both be alive too.
Correct. Oh yes, absolutely. So let's say you have a friend and he's gotten into a spaceship and he's traveling to Alpha Centauri. Okay. And he's moving faster than the speed of light. But the only way we can communicate with him is telepathically.
Time or space doesn't matter. Exactly. It was direct.
Exactly. So thoughts have no time. And they have very little distance. So if I'm talking to a space cadet, an extraterrestrial traveling out to Alpha Centauri or the Pleiades star system, I can talk to them instantaneously, you see, because we're using thought forms. Now, in Reginald's case, Wrong hand. I'm over. No, still got it wrong. Anyway, in Reginald's case, they actually
Where
know
is
what he's going to
Reggie?
say before he says it because they're reading his mind.
It's very much similar, but he's able to telepathically do that with spirit.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And how does he receive it? Is through his device. Now, if we were all telepathic, it'd be a lot easier. We could talk to the living and talk to the energy dead, the energy immortals.
I like that term, energy dead. I like that.
Energy immortals.
I've
they're not
noticed-
dead. Okay, but let me.
I
just
know what
see.
you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
When I've talked through, when I'm talking to him through the SB7, I've got several recordings where I'm simultaneously hearing my own voice come through the SB7.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're projecting it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to show how poorly my genetics are designed, there are 16, there's 16 letters in our genetic code that are not there. But we can arrange a DNA sample in this code, and we would have long range telepathy. Long range telepathy.
Fascinating.
It's all Greek to me.
Yeah,
Doctor.
all we need is this genetic code injected into our brains 3 or 4 times, or in the back of our neck.
I don't think I'll be taking that shot.
I have a and it goes along the lines of telepathic communication.
Pardon?
And
No.
I want to know if this has anything to do with it. I think it does.
It does.
Okay. Like I'm having a problem with somebody at work, for example. I am mad at them and they're mad at me. They did something they shouldn't have done. It was wrong of them. I'm upset. And I'm yelling and screaming about it out loud in my car on the way home. I'm already arguing with them without them being there. Now, the next time I go into work without any thought that this would ever happen, that person will walk up and be like, "Oh, and by the way, the other day I apologize for." Now, is that telepathic? Kind of.
Absolutely, I think it is. To a degree. Yes, absolutely. They're picking up on your energy.
Consciously know that they were wrong because I was throwing that signal out.
No, not necessarily, because like I'm an idiot. I'm a psychic idiot. I don't have any psychic ability. But what you do is, and I've done this, and I've gotten results too many times to ignore, but I call in an angel. I don't call in my guides. I call in an angel. And I can be any variety of angel. And I will ask them, go to the person that I am having trouble with, and
subtly let them know,
slowly
that you're upset.
get them to realize how they're affecting you. And if you want to talk about mind control, this is the deep step into it, because these angels and guides can go and manipulate that individual to seeing themselves and how they affect everyone else. And I've seen people turn right around.
So my guides and angels probably went running as soon as I was upset.
Oh yeah, they said, "Oh, Reggie's upset. We can't have this." So they ran to the other guy while he was asleep, or when he was like zoned out or whatever, and then they came in and said,
"Because I'm
going to manipulate this guy."
99.9% of the time, when I'm talking to my guides and whatnot, or my star family about something I'm upset about at work, I'm like blowing it way out of proportion. Like I'm going to go in, and it's just going to be hell the next time I go in there, and it's the
you don't want to do that.
It's a total opposite by the time I get there.
There's Carlos.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's Carlos in the group, and he asked a question for you, Dr. Mike. Is it possible when we get this gut feeling or an instinct? I want to know your thoughts. Do you think it's low-key telepathic?
Absolutely. And let me just run it down for you.
Nothing is low key in the telepathic community.
nothing's really
Nothing is low
low-key.
key.
But it's called sensory perception. Now you have as many you might say synaptic neurons in your stomach as you do in your brain. You have almost the same amount in your lungs, kidneys, in other parts of your body. So if you get a gut feeling that something is wrong, that's your consciousness, your subconsciousness telling you it's wrong. Biologically, it's actually making you sick in order to get your attention. See what I'm saying? Now, again, 90% doesn't work on my wife. Because women,
I thought that
women
was a
have
funny one.
cognitive dissonance.
Oh, it does,
They
probably
only
more than you know.
they just want to believe what they want to believe, and normally it's always their way. And men, we're flexible.
Too
But
funny.
Anthony is going ahead and saying, "Why did I wolf down my supper to come out on this show for?" Anthony, come on, let's go ahead.
Anthony
Make a
is
comment.
either completely quiet on a podcast or you can't stop him on a podcast.
I think he's fascinated by Dr. Michael Lynch, as I am too. I think he's just just soaking it all up.
Now, what you've got to do,
I'm dangerous when I'm quiet.
yeah.
Oh gosh, start talking.
So what you've got to do, and this is what all the gurus, the yogis, and
God, I've heard of that expression a lot of time. Yogis, Linda Bennett.
Ancient Zen and Kung Fu masters, they practice. It's a psychological muscle, psychological gestalt.
It really is. It really is.
And they practice in getting into the subconscious mind. And once they go in there, they can download information. They can go places through technical remote viewing. They can do things that we would think would just be impossible. But what's really possible is they're relaxing this beta wave mind to get into alpha. And once they get the beta out of the way, then everything starts to come in. All the information comes in, downloads it into your mind, into your subconscious. And then your conscious mind has got to arrange the pieces and put it together in this big puzzle thing. And then you get a clear picture from your beta wave mind what that is. So I had a dream one time. I had 5 dreams in a row. And each time I dreamt that dream, it got more and more into focus, more and more into focus. And then the last dream I had, it was I got a ticket. I got not a speeding ticket, but I got a ticket. Okay. Well, a couple of weeks later, I'm driving down the road, and what do I see? Road closed, detour sign. So I go, oh, gee whiz. I can't go this way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a U-turn and just go back the way I came. Oh man, as soon as I did, there was a cop sitting there and he nailed me. And that was exactly my dream. And he wrote me out a ticket and gave it to me. It was yellow. In my dream, it was yellow. In my dream, I was in my car. It was a rainy day and there were 5 intersections when there's supposed to have been 6, but there's 5 because one was blocked off. And that guy wrote me a ticket, and I just said, "Okay, give it to me. I'm guilty," But yeah, it's in our collective subconscious. And I have done a 5-year study, not bragging, just I had nothing else better to do. But I watched on YouTube in a blind study, meaning no prefrontal ideas, nothing like that. I watched tarot card readers for 5 years, only under the sign of Virgo. Okay. And I started out with 10 and I whittled it down to 5. Then a little bit later, I got down to 3. And what I found out was out of the 12 cards and the same card decks that they use, they all use the same. And out of the 10 and out of the 12 cards they selected, 4, 25% were identical. or identical. Okay, that's an impossibility. The odds of them pulling 12 cards with 4 of them, that ranges in the odds of 1 billion. I mean, casinos would make tons of money off this.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
When you watch, these guys, what they're tapping into blindly is this collective subconscious that is guiding these cards. So if you want to talk about determinism, that's it right there, because there's no way. There's no way. Now, I talked to Lloyd Auerbach. I talked to several other guys, even the skeptics, and they said, "Mike, you're wasting your time. That's poo-hoo. That's voodoo stuff. Voodoo stuff." I said, "No,
It's really not.
We have to test the collective subconscious somehow. Now we can round up 100 people and hypnotize them and let them go off on their hypnotic trances." But I said, why, when some people are practicing the subconscious relaxation techniques and they're doing tarot cards? Okay.
Yogi Beta Alpha, exactly.
That's right. Now I got a friend. She was part of my team. She's a retired nurse, and she's psychic. So somehow she is downloading information. She hears voices in her head, and she's not schizophrenic, but it's information that she's getting, and she claims it's from her angels. Now, she's right 97% of the time. Okay. So that's astronomical evidence. That's astronomical evidence to sit down with someone who can receive information in their own language, in their own voice, in a voice that they can understand, in their own language, and then tell you about things that either have been totally forgotten in the past, like the death of a child or whatever, or predict the future.
But like we were talking about earlier, skeptics will at least listen to the evidence. Atheists just purely ignore it from the get-go. I've learned.
And that's why they don't get it. They don't get the psychic ability. They don't get the telepathy. They don't get the EVP reception because they just don't believe in it.
So now on that downloading that you're talking about, that leads me right into my question. Okay, can you go into a certain place and you can say, like myself, I've gone to this certain place and I know that I've crossed over into other dimensions, and most of the people here in the chat, they know this story. It's actually in a forest, and for the first time that I went in there, actually me and my co-founder, it changed us. And every time that I've gone in there, it downloads. I've seen so many things in there, and I know you've spoken about portals before. There's portals in there. There's beings. But from the very first time that when we came back out of there, we lost track of time. It changed me. It changed my son for the rest of our lives. We've never been the same. We didn't come back to the same timeline. We've never been the same. And
you won't be.
And every time that I've gone, my abilities, even from the first time, changed. And they were updated. And
2.0.
I've taken people in there, even recently, because I've been there 10 times in the last 2 years. And of course, I have to keep going back for different reasons, but they've been able to see the things that I've talked about, the other beings that are in there. But like I said, either you're going to lose your mind, or you're going to run out of there, or you're going to come out of there updated. That's the only word that I can say. Downloaded. You're going to be downloaded.
Exactly, like a download, like a refresh. Yep.
That place is like Alice in Wonderland. I mean, there's so many different places to cross over, and I even actually got one of the portals to open during the day. I have that on video, but I used a frequency to get it to open.
Correct. Correct.
And I'll be going back soon because I think I've caught on to finally something after 2 years of going there with playing this frequency off my phone. But I got that during the daytime, and you can see it. I think Reggie and Greg have seen it when I played it, and I had 3 other people with me that time, and it was during the daytime because I know people don't believe in portals; they don't believe they can there. Well, hey, I got it on video, but every time that I go back, I come out of there. I could say, I mean, I wasn't too smart to go in there the first time. And actually, we stumbled over this place. We did not have any kind of idea where we're going. So we didn't go with any prognition in our minds about to see anything or nothing. We just happened to stumble with this place, and this place is, you name it, it's in there.
It's mystical, and something called you there for a reason.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's what I believe.
But every time that we go, and even this last time that I took 2 other people in there with me, it changes you even physically. If you're having something to do with ailments in your body,
right,
you'll be healed.
Right.
Whatever it is, you're gonna come out of there a whole different being. And even now, I mean, for me, it's like it's taking me so far that it's almost kind of like it's that I've only recently started speaking about it, because even in the paranormal world, how we believe in spirits and this, I can talk about some things that are maybe that'll be too fantastic to believe, unless you go there.
Now, you may or may not have hung out with a few shamans, Indian shamans in your day, but I have. And they tell me that they are sensitive to this, and that they can go to spots that they say they can receive information easier. And sometimes they do the medicine wheel, and the medicine wheel is divided into 4 quadrants. It's a circle.
It's in there.
It's almost like a force. It's almost like a force field. That's what I'm getting.
It's like they're opening a dimension.
It's actually in there. And when I went the first time, we went the second time, I seen the spiral that represents the portals on the trees.
Yeah,
I tried to take pictures of it, but I couldn't take pictures of it because sometimes the equipment doesn't work. Nothing works.
Yep.
And
that's the field. That's the field that it's in.
And
exactly.
That place is native. I'm native myself. And
Me too, partially.
So I have a connection with it. And I mean, it took me a while to finally because there's a big story. I barely tapped into all of it. I mean, the land. I do the research on the land, the people that were there before, but it's the what you were talking about is there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's on the ground. If you can see it, you can see it.
Now, there's different things. Boron is a natural chemical, natural element, and it will help your joints, but you've got to stay in it for about 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes it can build up a deadly. And then there's something called, which a lot of people have talked about this for years. I don't call it this anymore, but it was called orgone energy. And orgone energy was where there was ley lines connecting energy nodes, energy spots. And these people would follow these ley lines, and it was called orgone energy. And they would follow this energy they could use dowsing rods. Sometimes they would just go into a state of mind, and they could see the energy, the path of the energy.
Yeah.
And so you have all these monuments like Stonehenge, Avesbury, the Washington Monument, all sitting on top of an orgone center. Now they believe
pyramids.
a lot of this, pyramids like in Egypt. That amplifies this earthly energy, this orgone energy. Well, we found out that it's a different type of frequency, but it does a lot of things. It clears blockages. It amplifies your own aura. Yeah, right. That's the one. Okay. There's a cave in Tennessee or Kentucky, and that everyone has gone into, and they claim they've gone to another world, a center Earth, that this portal will open up, and then you go into this another Earth, this other Earth. Anyway, so what I'm saying is there are portals, absolutely. There is energy that is naturally around us that for some reason, because of our mental predilection, meaning we don't want to focus on that. We
Or
just
even acknowledge it. Yeah.
right. We just ignore it. We just ignore it.
Exactly. Yep.
And so in medical science, back in the 1600s, or a little bit after that, 17 something, they didn't know what germs were. And so there was a guy before Louis Pasteur who was studying germs. And he said, you know, if you just wash your hands and brush your teeth, you eliminate a lot of these germs off your system. Well, the doctors didn't believe it, but they started to wash their hands before they went into to help women give birth. You know, they were there to catch the baby, you might say. And anyway, before they would go in, and after they would wash their hands. Well, the babies lived past 2 years of age, which was phenomenal.
Let me get my gum.
But the whole idea is that they had to believe in germs in order to combat them. So if you don't believe in portals or spirits or guides, then you're going to be ignorant of it.
Just meet me out there and I'll take them.
Yeah,
but I'm interested in hearing what you have here, the consciousness, because I'm one that does enter into the alpha, and I know I've spoken about this. A lot of people don't know what it is. You know.
Okay. Yeah. There's 4 basic wavelengths in the mind, and alpha is one, beta is another, delta, and then theta. And each one of them gives us something: depth perception, intuitive information. But beta is the big gorilla in the room. It says, no, this is all physical. There's nothing else but me. I'm just the big gorilla. You just have to obey me and everything will be okay. You see? Yeah. But then our minds change because of neuroelasticity. You know, our brains start to develop, and then we go, well, we've been told about angels and portals and all this all of our lives. Why don't they exist? You know, where are they? That's the question. Where are they? Well, once you set your mind to that frequency, and everything starts to happen in front of you.
But if you don't dial to a different station or a different mind zone, you're going to be stuck in that mind zone.
Right. If you're on AM listening to country music, you'll never go to FM and listen to Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, it's because when I enter into the alpha, I go through those colors.
Mm-hmm.
Each level that I go deeper, it goes into one color, to yellow, to blue. Actually, the magenta ones are the lower ones, and then you have the beta one that's the other one. So once you get to there, but that's when everything changes. Everything around you changes. You're going to see it different.
But Dr. Lynch, I want to ask Dr. Lynch, though, with your background, and you're talking about once you achieve this with the colors, you know, with the cranium, I think it's the brain that you've got behind you. Once you achieve that color, does that retain forever, or can you lose it if you don't practice?
No, it all changes. It all changes. Every second of every day, your brain is going through neuroplasticity, meaning you're learning something.
So fluidity, it constantly changes. Okay.
Right. Every hour it changes because we're learning something new, and we're also recording everything that we see. And our subconscious.
But does that retain somewhere deep down inside? Does that retain somewhere?
It retains here, or it retains itself in the Akashic records, where everything is kept, all your lifetimes. So if you could go to the Akashic record now, you can see your 2 lifetimes ahead, or you can see the 10,000 lifetimes behind you, you know, depending on how you want to look at it, you know. But let me just get back to Anthony real quick. when you hit
I'm so sorry. I'm so
no,
sorry.
no, that's right. When you hit the alpha wave and you can stay in it for a prolonged time, the Earth resonates. Its Schumann resonance resonates at the same frequency. So talk about amplification. As soon as you hit alpha and you can maintain it, the Earth boosts that level of energy, that frequency, so that you can go beyond the Earth.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I said there is a way that you can stay in it, but
not for a prolonged period of time, but
it takes time to be able to even just
it's
to
like an
start to see
exercise.
the colors.
Right. It's an exercise, and that's why these gurus and metaphysical people have got to meditate every day, because that's the way they can get into that state, and then they can stay there. Now, the longest I've ever heard is 40 days, a month. Some guru in India is supposed to have gone into alpha or whatever, and he was in yogi position for like 40 days. And
wow.
So my question.
So that's the longest I've ever heard. Now, there might be somebody out there longer, but I've never heard anything longer than that.
I
You
always
can take me off of the floor after 40 days.
I always
frozen solid.
and I received all this information in this place.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that I've gone, I've come out of there different.
Mm-hmm.
To where the definition of time, which time doesn't even exist.
Right.
Time don't exist for me.
That's right.
I mean, I could sit there and talk for hours on this. What's shown on there, and I'm just still going to be just on the beginning of it. Okay. But Reggie's got a question, so I'm going to let him go.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
I was just going to say, my whole life, well, at least I've always been in a meditative state. When I meditate or try to meditate, I just simply fall asleep. And so, but when I'm like at the cemetery, when I'm connecting right here at the desk with spirit, I slip into a zone that I can't describe. It's like I'm right there in the room with them, like we've been talking about. And, it's just like us talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, am I in an alpha type state at that point? Is it something similar?
Very similar. The alpha state is just above, and it's hard to maintain, the sleeping state. So if you go too far into it, you'll fall asleep. That's a fact. So it's just before you fall asleep and just before you wake up. Okay. So the other day, I'm kind of waking up. I'm kind of, waking up out of sleep. And I hear my son's voice, and it goes, Papa. Just one word, Papa. And it sounded like he was 10 years old, and it sounded like he was right next to my ear. That's how clear it was. But I woke up, I looked around.
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere. No. Yeah, he's 24 years old. So that's, for something like that had happened, it had to go back into my mind and find that audio file and then play it.
Isn't that amazing?
I heard it. Yeah. Now, Nick Begich, I'll get back to Anthony here in a second. Nick Begich, he's up in Alaska, and he has a device that was made in Germany, and it's about the size of a pack of cigarettes. I'm going to use this as an example. He has a device made in Germany. Looks like a pack of cigarettes, and it has two little electrodes coming off of them. And if you put them on your head or on your jawbone, he can turn it on, and you can hear music playing in your head. Okay. And you don't know where it's coming from because you're kind of looking around like, well, it's not coming through my ears, but it's going through the vibration of your skull, of your bone. And they made a toothbrush that did that. When you put it on your teeth, it would play music and you could hear it, but you couldn't hear it. You could hear it because it was making
The
contact.
vibration or something. Yeah.
Right. It was the vibration that was going through your bone that made you hear it. So there's ways that they can communicate to you in these states if they follow a biological path that would go through your ears, go directly into your brain, go through your bone structure. There's ways for them to use that as long as the vibration and the signal are complete, that they make that. Now, all that said, if I've ever messed you up already, all that said, in Antarctica, the South Pole, there's a wormhole. There's a portal. Okay. And they found this portal several different ways. But anyway, they found it, and the Russians found it, and they had it on. They had a clock and some weather experiments in this box, and then they sent it up on a balloon, and it was on a tether. So the balloon went up like a couple of thousand feet, and they sit there for a little while, and they said, "Okay, we'll bring it down." Well, they bring it down, and the clock went back in time. So
I kind of believe it.
they said, "We're going to do this again," and they sent it up, and it was 1980s that they did this, and it went back to 1961. It went back 20 years.
Wow.
Now, every time they did that experiment, it would always go back in time, and they were just like, I don't know how this is happening, blah, blah, blah. We're at the bottom of the world. Anything can happen. Well, come to find out, later on, there's a room down there, a big, massive 9-story room that's nothing but black granite with insignias in it, and it's 9 acres square, and it's 9 stories tall. 9 acres square, 9 stories
That's a
tall.
huge piece of property.
Yes, and it belongs to the Anunnaki. Now, the Anunnaki left that operational because they use it as a base, but they come in through a portal, a wormhole, above Antarctica. They go down to their base, hang out for a little while, get all the information, and then they can go back again. Now, there's many of these down in Antarctica. There's many underground installations left by Pleiadians, Anunnaki, et cetera, that when it was a real piece of tropical territory, they all seemed to go there because of good mining resources. And so yeah, are there portals? Sure, absolutely. Artificial ones? Absolutely. Are there natural ones? Absolutely. Now, here's where Anthony and I both crossed paths. I was in Sedona, Arizona, and they said, "Oh, you got to go out to one of these vortexes." And I go, "Okay, sure." So we go out to a vortex, right? Well, I pull out my handy dandy dowsing rods, and I'm outside the vortex. I'm outside the vortex, and they're straight. They're straight like this. They're just like, absolutely straight. Then I go into the vortex, and they start spinning, just crazy. They just start spinning like they're crazy. I take one step out of the vortex, they're normal. I take one step into the vortex, they go crazy again. And I couldn't get them to calm down. So yeah, does Sedona, Arizona have portals? Does it have a different frequency of energy emanating from those vortexes? Absolutely. Did Anthony walk into these? Absolutely. They're natural. They happen all over the planet. But when you find one, it's like a gold mine, because now you've got something you can test and experiment.
That's why I go back so many times.
Yeah, and to get more information. I love it. I love to watch that show. What is it? Paranormal Caught on Camera. And,
yeah, I love that show. Yeah, I love it. I know people don't like it, but I like it.
and the guys go, "We're going to look for ghosts. We're going to go find a ghost." And then they find something that happens, and they go, "Ah!" And they all run away.
I know, running out like little bitches.
It's like, no, man, you're there to find ghosts, then analyze that.
Exactly.
And like Anthony, you found this, analyze it.
Let's go get this. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
It
It's a
is a
gift, Anthony.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's an awesome place. I mean, like I said, we didn't go in there the first time. We were just having fun. We're actually doing something else, and and we just decided to go there. And nobody goes into this place. I mean, all the other paranormal investigators, they're scared of this place. They get bad vibes. And yeah, there is a lot of beings. There's a lot of different ones that will come after
And
you.
Teresa.
But I happen to have a relationship with it now that it opens up more and more. I can take certain people, not all, that will communicate. Carlos in here, he's one of them. He actually got to
Oh.
experience this last time. He's a believer now.
I was wondering if that was the same Carlos.
Yeah, it's Lurker. And
Okay.
he got to experience that and much more. And even right now, it's just the beginning, because I mean, there's so much that I get out of it. I come back here, nothing's been the same. It actually took me a little while to try to even live in this parallel world that I'm in, or it's just it looks the same, but it's not. You know what I mean? And um, it's kind of hard to explain, but I mean, it's just out there. I mean, this place is something else. I mean, and it seems like nobody gets it. Nobody gets it, But I'm starting to gather more evidence. Starting to go in with a little bit more different equipment. I'm trying to go in there now with more of a like I did. I did that frequency, and it did open. But there's just so many things in there because it's native.
Right.
It's all native, and so there's a lot of symbols that appear. And what's crazy about it is, okay, I'll say this real quick. The when we crossed over that night, and we went to another area, that place had a wall that was going, and you could see it. It was shimmering. Well, I could see it. When we crossed over, and we couldn't come back the same way because it wouldn't let us. That I had to crawl on the ground. And like I said, we went there. We weren't looking for anything. I wasn't thinking about portals or dimensions or beings or anything like this. It was on the fly, and that I had to find a little hole to come back to this side. And the person that was standing on the other side they were not even 10 feet away from us. It was another girl that was there, just happened to go in with us at the time. They were standing there, but she said they couldn't see us or hear us, yet we could see and hear them.
That's right.
I mean, they were right there. And one of my members goes, "We couldn't see you." I said, "We could hear you and see you, but we couldn't go back. I had to find another place to come out." And so it's but once we crossed through there and we came back, I mean, that's when everything was different. We lost track of time. We were in there longer than what we thought we were. The everything had the forest itself had changed, like it rearranged itself. And it keeps doing this. Every time we go, I try to videotape because kind of like to keep track so that I don't get lost, because we have gotten lost in there before, and it's almost impossible to get lost. It's like, how are you going to get lost from here to your driveway? But it happens in there. You will.
Yeah. Now, Reginald, when he does these EVPs, you can hear in his voice his intent. He says it. He goes, "I love you. I want the best for you. I want this communication to stay open." So Reginald is forming an intent to his motives. Okay. So when you go into a place like this, I don't care if it's the Bat Cave with Batman, you're going to have to put out your intent
constantly
and say, I mean, I hate to be a old shaman about this, but the shaman go in and say, "What's your intent? Is your intent to fight, destroy, embrace? What's your intent?" And a lot of times, because my background's in science, I don't have an intent. I clear my mind. I become neutral. And I don't have an intent. And a lot of times the shamans will tell me, "No, Mike, you have to have an intent." So, Anthony, I'm just going to say, if you go back, depending on its intelligence, you're going to have to say, "My intentions are peaceful.
Well,
just here to learn."
Well, the first times that we went in there, I was the other badass.
Yeah.
And
right.
I would get punched all the time. I would come out of there, beat up. I felt like a punching bag. And I
Yeah.
was like that. And I've said this before, but since I've met Reggie, I've seen the way that he investigates, the care that he shows.
Right.
And I've told him this before. He actually changed my way of investigating because this time,
I love that. I love that.
these last two times that I went, because there is a shaman in there. There's a shaman because the land goes back 10,000 years of
Yeah.
natives.
Yeah.
And they told me what happened in that place, that they were massacred for the land.
Mhm.
And so when I went back to meet the shaman. And that I even went and got my bone from it.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. I was on that investigation via camera.
I got my hagstone, which represents water. The bone represents earth. The very
That was
first
an
time
awesome investigation.
I got my feather, which this feather, when I picked it up in the same spot that I have found finally, this feather will make you levitate. It actually, even right now, I can feel it where it just starts to bring me up. So air, earth, water. The only thing is that I was the fire, and I couldn't figure out what the
Okay.
fire was or how to get the fire.
You have to go back, like me, and you have to get some Prince Albert, if you can, in the can. Find the loose tobacco or the twist of tobacco. Don't take sage, take tobacco. And you can take tobacco and light it. Now, the other side of the coin is beer. For some reason, and the more basic native beer you can find.
Sounds like my kind of ghost.
That's right. Now, each thing has a purpose.
Right.
Each thing has a purpose. Now, a lot of people say, well, I take cigarettes instead of tobacco. No, don't take cigarettes. That's just stupid. Take tobacco. And the more raw it is, raw twist form that you can light, the better off it is.
Right.
And then you set that down and they say, it's like you're going to a chief or a king and you bring them gifts and you say, I'm here to learn. I'm open to learn.
And actually, I did that this last time that we went. It showed me that I needed to do an offering.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I took my elements that I've gotten from there, and I had to hunt these down. I think Joshua saw when I went and hunted this bone down. That was an adventure.
I did.
And
That was a lot of fun.
and I did an offering, but I had to figure out what the fire was. And when I did some research and everything, and because I do come from that also, the fire was me. The fire was the pureness of the intention of my heart. That was the fire, because that's the fire of the shaman.
That's right.
And so of course, so when I went and did that offering, and I had to go to another place that I hadn't gone into, which is a whole nother crazier place. That's when Carlos got to experience that. I mean, we had to cross over 2 gateways, and then but I received a lot. Even he received a lot out of that. Oh, he's saying it right there. And the terrain changed on us, and the grass was ankle high. Yeah, that's the video of the portal that he's talking about right there.
Right.
And so I've done that, but I do go in there and also but I also achieve the alpha to go in there before. And this time when I went back, I actually asked permission to come in. I wasn't just coming in like the last time, like Zach Bagans and just kicking ass and getting my ass kicked, But I learned that because I saw Reggie doing that. It's like, wow, that's amazing. How he's getting this. That I actually started not to fight with this. I came with peace now, and I wanted to know their story, and they actually started to help me more and give me more.
Love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Now remember, you're the light, but not the fire. The fire is knowledge. The fire is knowledge. The light is you. You are the light.
Yeah.
Okay. When I talk to angels, and Greg knows this, and Reggie probably knows this too. When I talk to angels, I say, "Have mercy on me." Have mercy. because there's so many things I cannot do. I cannot do in physical form. I can't, there's so many things you cannot do. And so I say, have mercy on me because I cannot do this. So when I go into a place like you're talking about, Anthony, I say, angels, back me up on this, help me. And they will be there and they will, say, okay, Mike is here to learn. Don't possess his body. Everything's going to be cool. Just chill. And we're here to learn.
Right.
And sometimes that's what you're going to do.
Linda was saying right there too, that I left out of a different exit point. And then we did because I had told my son, I said, if you want to go back to the place that we were before, then we go in and come back out the same. But this time when we went back in, because we've been there 10 times, the fourth time we went back, when I finally found that place that time, I said, I'm going back out. I'm going in the way we came out. Because if I go in the same way, then I'm going to come back, and I'm not coming back. I want to go deeper down the rabbit hole. It's just me.
Yeah.
But what I was going to mention was the place that we crossed over that first time, and we crossed through that wall. When it took me a year to find it again, and when I finally found it, and we went during the daytime because I wanted to get video because I knew it was going to change. I already caught on to this thing, and there was a tree, and it had the spiral signal on it. And I don't know if you know what the spiral signal means in the native. It means a portal.
Yeah. Portal.
It's a spiral like this.
Yeah, there's a spiral in the ground. You can draw the spiral in the ground, and that means portal.
Right.
Or in the tree, which means portal. Yeah.
Right. And the tree is right in front of where you cross over. So the to me it was like, this is crazy, because I saw it and I was trying to take pictures, but I couldn't get it on my phone. It just would appear. And when I saw it, I knew what it meant. But it was crazy because that's kind of like an enter sign for us. You know how we got an enter and an exit. So kind of how ironic can that be? Is that I'm saying this is the entrance to the portal. There's a sign. There's a signal. There's a symbol that represents entrance to a portal on the tree. Yeah. A spiral. I mean, it's kind of like, how are you going to make this up? You know what I mean? I mean, that's how wild this place is.
It's a universal signal. It's a universal sign, is what it is. And okay, now remember, in the ancient Greek mythology, if you go into a labyrinth, you take with you a clue, and a clue is a ball of string with a way to tie it off. So you tie it off at the tree, take the string with you, and then you follow that string out. Okay. And that's your clue. That's how you get out.
Oh, but I don't want to get out the same way. I go deep.
Well, I know. So the idea is if you go through and you continue to go through, you may end up in another.
It's still a good source of protection to have in case you can't find the other way out.
Right. Well, yeah. We've done that, and this last time too, like Carlos was saying a while ago too. When I went to that third time after I finished the offering, you could see everything, and then it started getting dark. And I told him, we need to leave because this place is closing. And if we don't leave, we're going to get stuck in there like we did the very first time, and we didn't come back out the same way, and we actually, this time we came out a different way, but it does close in there, but there's many of them. They're right next to each other. I've described it like in your house. This room here looks like one way. Your kitchen looks one way. There's a doorway right there. It's called a doorway. It's right there. You cross that over, now you're into your dining room. It looks different. Then you got another doorway, and it's your living room, and it looks different. It's that close inside there that you can cross over so fast. But in each place, there's a guardian in every doorway. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can go through them, sometimes you can't. But not all those guardians are nice either. And there's other beings and other beings that are in that place that brings different things to you, or they'll come after you. That's what happens in there. So it's a mind melt thing in there. It's you have to be really in tune with it.
Yeah. Think of it like this. Think of it like there's watchdogs in there, and they're very territorial. Okay. So you have to understand that some dogs will come up and they'll smell your hand and they'll lick you, and then other dogs are just going to sit there and growl, and you have to get on the good side of that dog somehow, you know. And I call it the junkyard dog scenario, but
It's a good analogy.
yeah, it's trial and error is what it is. You have to find the guardians of these gates and find out their dispositions. That's why I have to talk to a guide or an angel. It's kind of like what Reginald does. He talks to somebody else to talk to somebody else. It's like talking to a medium to get more information about what's going on, you know. And so I always like to talk to somebody else who can see those guardians and feel their disposition. So I don't walk in there and come out with scratches or bites or whatever.
Linda Kruger says gatekeepers, which we all know.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a fascinating place. I mean, it
awesome.
is. I mean, every time I go in there, like I said, I come out. I get so much knowledge out of there that I'm so far beyond a lot of things. You know, I can.
And that's awesome. But just don't let it consume you. If you feel there's evil there, don't let it consume you.
Oh, there is.
And I was curious. I know there is. I was curious to ask you, Anthony. Has your son ever had any negative effect from being there?
He's okay. I call it jumping. That's what I call it. We go from the very first time we went in there, we came back. Everything changed. It wasn't the same even here, and but I understood a lot more now about this, which we call this reality. Reality, and within about 2 months, not even 2 months, I think it was like 3 weeks. We actually went back because I told him we need to go back. And because this time that we come back in starts to collapse. This reality, we'll go in. The first time we came back out then I could feel it that it was starting to get smaller and smaller and smaller. It was collapsing on itself. And for some reason we had to go back because we had to go back and cross over again.
Almost like a sinkhole, yeah.
And then when we did, we went back, we crossed over again, but it was in a different place because I couldn't find that one place that we crossed. Because like I said, it took me a year, and it was 6 times. I think 4 times. Yeah, the 4th time is when I found it. But every time we would go, and then we go back in, and then all this stuff would happen. But he wouldn't jump. He only jumped twice. And he got stuck. And I told him, you're going to have to go. Now we are stuck. We actually have shirts that say, we go in and you don't come out the same. That's what we made. We
got stuck in the hole.
Yeah. But I told him, if you don't go and you don't go back to it, because now we're stuck in this now. We have to do it. You're going to get stuck in this place and you're going to start to forget. And he has, and he's gone through hell in his life now. I reached the point.
That's what I'm worried about.
I reached to the point in the alpha where now, because I brought some of it back with me, tangible, and also too that now by meditating, I got stronger into reaching the beta. That now I can feel it when it starts to collapse, and I can automatically jump into the next line. Without having
That's
to go
freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome.
Without having to go back. And it's happened to me where even like that, like you have in the back, it happened to me at work one day. I knew it was starting to collapse. I got home. I laid down on the couch because I could feel it around me. I closed my eyes and I started to go in and I started to see the colors. And as I started to go deeper and deeper, right before you go to sleep and stay there. And then when it turned violet blue, I felt it just pull me right through the couch, right straight, and then I right back, and then everything was good because now I'm in that other place. It's kind of a pain in the butt because if you don't, because here just recently, it changed on me now. Now it's kind of like a different challenge. Now I don't realize it when it starts to collapse. So I have to be really in tune now in a higher frequency.
Right.
Keep meditating. Keep meditating.
I can catch it. At first, like I said, it was easy. It would show me. Now it's not showing me when it happens. So I have to be on top of my game
It's
constantly.
getting smarter.
Yes.
I have
Right.
to be on
You
top of my game. I have to be on top of my game constantly and not fall back to sleep, in a way. Because if I
Well,
do,
you need sleep. It's imperative for human life. But
well, not that
you
kind of
know,
sleep, where I just
I know.
forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have to stay now on top of my game because I have to stay in a higher consciousness now.
That's right. You have to remain in that frequency or higher and be aware and alert.
Right.
I talked to a few people who've had
You really
near-death
do.
experiences. And when they have a near-death experience, when they come back, they have a different form of perception. And that form is where they're seeing things, they're saying that this is all an illusion and they can see through it. And they're seeing patterns and things that happen around them that they've never seen before.
Yeah.
It's because in the near-death experience, all of this broke down and was just an illusion. And so when they get back, they realize we're in a small pocket of reality. We're not seeing everything. We don't understand everything because we're just not in tune to it, you know?
And I've caught on to the patterns also. The patterns drive me nuts because I keep trying to beat them. I keep trying to beat the pattern.
Yeah.
You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. They have so much more energy and so much more of a variety of energy than we do, than we understand.
We can't even comprehend.
We can't perceive it until we're out of the body completely.
Exactly.
And that's why mediums come in so well on this, is that they can start to give you a rough analysis, a picture of what's going on. Now, this reminds me of a story. I won't make it very long, but there was this Indian tribe on the other side of the Grand Canyon. And this white boy, for some reason, had a summertime camp somewhere nearby. And anyway, he got acquainted with this village of Indians. And so one day, one of the little boys, about the same age as this white kid, said, here, we'll show you a secret. We're going to show you we're not that primitive. I'll show you a secret. And so they got a couple of horses, and the Indian boy blindfolded the white kid. And they got on a couple of horses, and about an hour after riding down these trails along the Grand Canyon, they stop in front of this big cave, the kid said. It was like a big cave. And they got off their horses and they walked in. And as soon as they walked in, they were shaking, vibrating. And then he says, we walked into the center and there were 4 doors. And the little Indian boy goes, open one of those doors, but don't go in. And so the white kid goes, yeah, sure, no problem. So he opens the door, opens up. There's a whole nother planet on the other side of that door. A whole nother planet, a city, flying cars, monorails. I mean, this was back in the 1920s. So this is interesting stuff. So anyway, the kid closes the door and goes, wow, that's impossible. And the Indian kid goes, open that next door. And he opens the next door, and it was just nothing but another planet, a whole different world, different planet and everything. Well, the white kid had seen enough, and he closes the door, and he goes, this is freaking me out. I got to leave. And they turn around, they walk out, and he says they were shaking all the time they were in there, as if they were trying to be attuned to something, or like a tuning fork or something. Anyway, he walks out, they walk out of the cave, and he turns around and he says, I'll try to remember where this location is. And the little Indian boy goes, you won't, because if they don't want you to come back, they'll erase it from your mind.
Exactly. Sometimes you're not meant to. Exactly.
That's right. Well, that kid grew up, and in the 1940s and 50s, he told that story, and no one ever believed him. But that village existed for a very long time. Then suddenly that village just disappeared. The people just disappeared. And
Wow.
I'm sitting there thinking, maybe they walked through one of those doors. Never
Yeah.
came back.
Possibly.
There's that tribe, the Anastasi Indians. You know, they just disappeared and never returned. There are some Mayan villages where they found that there's still food in the pots where they were cooking it, and the plates and silverware and stuff like that was on the table, like they were going to sit down to dinner, and they just disappeared.
Can I just interject here real quick? I also think that sometimes they've known about this for however long, like what you're talking about, Michael. And I think at a certain point they just saw what was coming. Like, you know what? We're walking somewhere else. I think they just got and left.
That's right. You know? I think there's a lot of extraterrestrials forces still active on the planet. I think.
Oh, totally. No question.
We open our minds, we'll be able to talk to entities dead or on another planet. You know, once we get past a certain point, this will all become understanding.
We have to grow a little more.
We have to grow. We really have to grow. Okay.
I'm quite certain I talked to a few of them through my
electronics. Oh yeah. Because why? They're using the same form of telepathy the entities are using, or the ghosts are using, as they use in an everyday.
That word, that we're using, if you can channel into it. Absolutely.
Right. So here we have Elon Musk and NASA. They're going to go to Mars. They're going to go to the moon, right? On other planets.
Oh, I'm glad you brought up Mars. Let me forget.
God,
I'm sorry.
On other planets, they have psychics. They have psychics that go out into space to look for other habitable planets. Now, everyone thinks this is stupid, but Ingo Swann did it. Ingo Swann went to Jupiter in his mind.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
The rings of Jupiter, which no one else had ever seen. He describes things on Mars and things on the moon that show advanced civilizations. He never left his studio. So instead of us spending, we'll have to eventually, but putting thousands and millions of dollars into rockets, we could use our minds and find the exoplanets that we're really looking for. So NASA can take a picture of them with the Webb telescope, with the James Webb telescope, take a picture of that planet, give it to a psychic and say, can we live on that planet? And the psychic or the medium will say, yes, we can. You see what I'm saying? So NASA's
basically become a co-op of private rich people.
Yeah.
Here's another thing too. When we I've lived here 23 years in this town. When we left the first time, we came back. There was places and people that were not here. It changed. There was places and people that were not here in this place. They were gone.
Well, it happens, it's just called people leave.
And if I mean, that was like a building down here. It's not there no more. I mean, we only left for 4 days.
Oh wow, that's weird.
It doesn't exist.
Well, welcome to the new dimension.
And there was people too that disappeared. Even my son caught it. We didn't talk about things until later on, and then we said, "Well, hey, you know what? I did pick up on that because we didn't say anything to each other about it. Kind of kept it to ourselves until we did talk about it. It's like, well, hey, did you notice this? Did you notice that? Yeah, this and that." After about the 5th to the 6th time, we started coming back, and people were 30 to 40 years older.
Oh wow! I just want to say really quick: did anybody check out William Shatner's Stars on Mars?
Now this is crazy. This is nuts because we actually were seeing. I saw those people. I mean, they were young, and now they're old.
Kind of cool, but it's a
How
little
did that
weird.
happen? I mean, they're old. They're like in their 75, 80 years old.
Well, you went through a time shift, and time shifts can do that, but normally they snap back. You'll be able to go into a slice of time that has shifted,
A
and
bend of reality,
yeah, and
exactly.
then later on that bend
It
corrects
shifts
itself,
back, exactly.
and then you're back on normal time again.
Yeah, I stay in front of that bin.
Yeah. Now I've got people that talk about that displacement, time displacement.
You see, in that, like I said, that place is almost. I'm like a tour guide in there now, and there's
But
still.
yeah, has anybody checked out that show? It's pretty
We'll
cool.
be going back though here pretty soon because we're gonna go. There's different sides to it. This is just one side. If you go across down further and you cross over, that's a whole nother circus over there. But this time here, we're gonna go on the opposite side, which I haven't been there yet, and so I don't know what that place is gonna hold down.
That's
amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, there are natural phenomenon on the Earth that are very different in electromagnetics, in gravitational fields, in radiation. There's just a lot of different things, but that's interesting. Now, the only thing I can compare that to is I woke up one day and I had to do a construction project, and everybody knows to tighten the drill bit, you got to go to the right. Well, I woke up one day and my drill bit would only tighten to the left.
Wow.
And I spent all day, pulling drill bits out, putting new drill bits in and stuff like that. And I was constantly trying to tighten it to the right.
Instead of thinking to the left. And
Yeah,
just, hey, let me try it this way.
It doesn't make any sense. Because the old saying is righty tighty, lefty loosey. And I'm sitting there going, man, I must have woke up on the wrong side of the universe, because in my world, everything tightens on the right, everything loosens on the left. And I got a drill here that tightens on the left and loosens on the right. And I said, man, this is just crazy.
Because they're punishing you.
Well,
that's right.
Man, I think I'd wake up in heaven, being left-handed and all.
I'll give you my drill, because I don't know. I mean,
well, look at this. When you go to that place, you have
as long as it's being turned.
You have to cross a bridge. You have to walk over a bridge. Under that bridge, there's a river. Okay, it's a pretty good river. And then when you go in, so furthermore, then you go make a left, then you start going down the trail, and it goes into the forest. Okay, so you got a river going under it. So you got a conductor there. And,
right.
And
I told you there was a woman that was murdered under that bridge in that forest.
There's a lot of people there like that. But that river, when we first went, was flowing from the left to the right. Okay. And I remember because of other stuff that happened in there with those other people, and I remember seeing that if that guy would fall, that he would fall, and the river would take him. The river was flowing from right to left, so it's flowing this way.
South north, or
so like if y'all are facing, turn around, it's going from right to left. Because I remember that if he fell, the river was going to take him down into the forest further down. He was going to drown. We were going to find him. But that was at night. And when we came back out, I didn't notice that. But when we came back 3 weeks later, and it's the first thing that caught my eye was the river was going the opposite way now. Now, instead of going from right to left, it was going from left to right. And so, when I came back, I started looking at old videos that people have gone there, because there's an urban legend about the bridge, but they don't go into the forest. See, people go to the bridge because of the urban legend, but they don't go into the forest where the real deal is at. And so I started looking up old videos on YouTube about this place, because it's a familiar place, but they only go to the bridge. They don't go into the forest, because we go miles into the forest. And so I dug up some old videos. I found a 10-year-old video they showed the river going from right to left, the way that I saw it the very first time, and now it's going the opposite way. So rivers don't change directions.
They do sometimes in flash floods.
No, this stays this way.
I'm just saying
Water-
maybe that's a possibility. I don't know.
Water goes downhill no matter what. Water finds.
Yeah,
the
that's
least-
really weird. If it's going uphill, that's weird.
So when we went in one time. We went in through one time, the timestamp, whatever you want to call it. But when we came back out, I didn't notice it because it was dark. But when we went back the second time, that's when it caught my eye. I said, "Wait a minute, there's something different here because this wasn't going." So I remember if that guy would have fell, he would have went down that way. So
That is freaky.
Now
That's
the water's going this way. So actually,
That's
reality
freaky.
was when we went in one time zone. We came out in another time zone.
I mean, I believe it. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't. I mean, there's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just weird, man.
You got to go and get yourself a naval or military compass, north, south, east, and west, that
Right.
tells you which way. And then before the river, you take your bearings before the river. And you may have to go out and walk, but you will go over the bridge and see if north changes direction. And about every 10 or 20 feet, you'll have to adjust for that. The next thing you can get is a metal detector, which I advise almost everybody get. And the last one is a radiation detector. A radiation detector. Now, you can take your tri-field meter in as well, and then that's going to help. But
Can I ask you, what is a tri-field meter?
A
What is
tri-field
that?
meter determines energy in the air, ambient energy.
It's like when you take them into houses and you can tell you the wires and the phones or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mean electricity. It just means electrons. Electrons in the air. You can take a voltmeter. I used to have an old Radio Shack voltmeter, and I would put it on.
I remember Radio Shack.
I'd put it on. I'd put it on millivolts. Millivolts is what I would do. I set it on millivolts and then separate the electrodes by 4 to 6 inches. And if it makes a gap by density, by volume, the electrons in that airspace will go up. Now, when you get around a ghost or an entity, it's about 125 millivolts. Okay. But the ambient air could go up to 50 to 100 by itself. And then that's having an electrical impulse in your brain. Okay. So
Makes sense.
So it's as if you're in a radioactive or radiation chamber that then is affecting your mind and your senses, because those are the most volatile in that environment.
Yeah. The seventh time that we went, because when we were there like a month and a half ago, was our 10th time in 2 years. The seventh time we went, I actually went and bought a manual compass. Just a regular old compass, nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy.
Then
That's always good to have when you're going into a dark forest.
I got the compass because I'm trying to figure this out. You know what I mean? So I got and then I got a compass on my phone. So I had a digital compass, then I had an analog compass.
Yeah, but batteries run out. It's always good to have a fucking manual.
Once you cross the bridge, because that's one gateway. Right. Once you cross past the bridge, across the water, the only thing that it did was just spin.
Wow.
So you're in a vortex right there.
When you cross when you walk back, it stops. It's just like in the video that I have. And during the daytime, we walk forward towards the portal and you can see it it opens. And then as we get closer, it starts to close.
It spirals.
And then we stopped and we start walking backwards and walking slowly. And then to find that point where it starts to open again. So, and you can see us doing it in the video, broad daylight, and you can see it. And then, so I was trying to get a bearing of how far we got to go before it opens and closes. You know,
How much swearing was in there?
how much what?
How much swearing was in there when that happened?
None. There
You know,
wasn't
it's
any.
funny.
Like,
It's
holy!
funny. This has been a fantastic podcast up to this point, and I'm going to tell you right now, we lost time. We were at 3 hours of the podcast.
Oh no.
Well,
I came in a half hour late, but I'm just freaking psyched that my first podcast on here, and we got the incomparable Anthony Sabalos, and most of all, Dr. Michael Lynch. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is an amazing. You better share this. I share it to my groups.
Well,
what's
funny
This is freaking off the charts.
Not only is it Dr. Michael Lynch and Anthony, but Dr. Michael
You guys,
Lynch
yeah,
actually
the
has a weather screen behind him that he keeps on telling everybody it's a brain.
It's consciousness.
Okay,
it is. Yeah.
and it's actually.
But
you
the
can see
analogy works, you know.
The intensity of
it
the
works.
storm, you could see that
Yeah.
in the reds.
And then I got
Right.
mine going right here. I'm just going through space. and
Yeah.
time.
I'm just
Love
kidding.
it. I always love your backdrops.
Now, with Anthony there,
I'm
I
so
gotta
glad.
remind you-
I'm so glad I didn't pussy out and get scared. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go on camera. I'm so glad I didn't do it because man, this is one of the best shows, and I'm just happy I'm here.
But
Guys are
watch
amazing.
this, Michael. Watch this, Michael. Every time that I've talked about this, I've been on podcast for 5 hours, just barely touching on this, and it's been their longest podcast several times. But stuff will happen either on the screens will fade out or glitch out, or
we
people
lose
will
time.
message me later having dreams about this.
You're being monitored, and that's amplifying. Now, the thing is, I may have talked to Reginald about this. I'm not sure, but let me just say to Anthony and all the viewers: if you're going to go do an investigation like what Anthony's doing, remember that it's your body changes the environment. Your human body changes the environment.
Oh boy,
So please, neutralize your thoughts and wear shoes that will ground you, because that's the only way that it's going to prevent the energy from really having an effect. So you need to be grounded, you need to be thought neutral, and you need
I'm
to
infiltrating.
understand that your body, your physical body, and the amulets you wear and the equipment that you take changes the psychic environment that's there.
The
I
eighth,
just wanted to throw that out.
the eighth time that we,
Actually, he's right there.
the eighth time that we went, I actually was barefoot in the forest, in that forest,
Wow.
and we laid on the
Oh,
ground.
thank you, Anne Marie.
Yeah, that's great. You got to
Uh-huh.
ground yourself
But
all the time.
all this here, I didn't know. This is what I get from there. This knowledge that I keep, like you're telling me, but I've already done it. You're telling me
Yeah.
another one, and I've already done it.
That's great.
But I get it from in there.
Yeah, you're on the right path, and they're trying to mold
Totally.
you. They're trying to mold you so you're okay. You're the safest you can be.
Oh yeah, I feel good. in
Other
there.
entities want you at your weakest so they can exploit you emotionally, fear, heart, whatever. They're wanting there to scare you, because that's their territory, and they're there to frighten you away.
That's what
All
happens
right?
to
So
the other ones.
follow Reginald's lead and go in there with an open heart and carry love and light.
Love and light.
You get more honey.
And try to understand, try to fathom. all
But
of
I
it.
am the race prince, so I am a
Yeah.
little rebellious.
I know, you're so badass.
So I still got that dark side of me, and I still
walk
want to go in there and kick
and
ass with them other ones. So I'm
I
good
walk
and
in
bad.
with all this love and light,
But I like that good
anything-
balance, you know.
If there's anything negative there, my star family and guides are kicking butt and taking names. on the
And Greg is such a light worker too, man. He's done so much for this community. It's just amazing, and I just want to give shout out to him. He's just freaking amazing, and I consider him a dear, dear friend.
I mean, you're looking at some of the best of the best of the best here, and
Thank you.
It takes field research.
You guys are way better, but
even though at times of the night I can't properly ask a question because my mind is so booked on who in the heck was in the show. You know,
Thank all the
No.
viewers.
I just think
And
Reggie had a
I've been
chance.
trying to get Dan Norval's always busy. It was nice to have him in here for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm glad I didn't chicken shit out. I'm glad I did. And then who do know? Like 3 minutes later, Dr. Michael Lynch. I'm like, oh my god, I struck gold tonight.
I think Anthony, that it would be a good thing, and I'm not telling you to do it. It would just be a good thing to take a few extra minutes before you go in the location to make sure you're covered on everything that's been discussed tonight.
Oh yeah,
And it's your adventure, you know. You do what you want, but I'm just saying, you're a friend, and I don't need to lose a friend that way.
Yeah,
you know.
Tell me about it.
Well, I'm
and
thinking
you're gone. There ain't no more Anthony. He's gone.
Yeah, you only got one race friend.
Yeah,
so
I can't
Right,
wait until
exactly.
I can't wait until I get to go into them woods with Anthony.
Well, he
Oh,
did.
boy,
He had
I
a
can
chance
tell
to
you-
go, and he blew it.
Oh, geez.
You know what?
Well,
you know
it
what,
was
Anthony?
an 8-hour drive from El Paso.
An
You heard what
8-hour
Dr.
drive to
That's a long drive.
experience
That's a
of
long
your
drive.
lifetime.
Well, it's 16 hours when you got to add it together to drive back.
But you would have
Dr.
Right.
Michael told you all about the string. He told you about the string in the can, and we used to use that for phone
God.
communication
Yeah.
back in
Yeah, I
the
was
day.
born in '71, so I remember.
Everybody
Yeah,
had a
I'm gonna-
can and string. Okay,
I'm going to give
and
Anthony
now
a real
and,
treat.
and now we're finding people with it. So you know you're getting yourself out of the ditch.
No,
When I go down there to the woods, I'm going to give Anthony a real treat. I'm not only going to bring in the SB7, but I'm gonna take a portion of that visit in the woods wearing the helmet.
No, I'll bring Dr. Mike. I'll bring
I'm gonna wear
Dr.
the
Mike
helmet.
down in my car. We'll just come down and we'll go ahead.
yeah, we'll just
try to
gang
find
up
you
and,
guys.
and meet you down here. Now, the only other download that I am aware of, besides working with mediums or psychics, is working with a gray. Now, grays, because of their big brain that they show off all the time, the grays can download everything that they know into your brain. A little gray like that will download everything that is
Look at Greg.
into your brain. And everybody who's done this has gotten severely ill and sick. So I know that if you go into the cave or a portal zone and you go in there and you come out sick, it's because one, the environment, and two is it's the energy that's affecting your mind, because you've already talked about that, that would make you ill when you come out. And when I first did my first couple of big investigations with a very haunted location, I would always come home sick. And so I got into a point to where I'd come home, I'd have it in my chest. I'd feel the pressure in my chest. And I'd come home and I'd
that's scary.
shower and really scrub down. And then I wash all my clothes, just to change that signature of that energy that I've been in.
It's a paranormal hangover.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
Kind of, yeah. Kind of is.
yeah. I never experienced it so much lately, but that's because I've just kind of built up.
No, I still get it. I
But,
mean, now Anthony's probably got it tenfold.
We used to have a sign.
I get it sometimes without even being on a physical location. I can pick up on it.
There used to
Yeah,
be
dude.
a sign that my dad had. It said, "Avoid hangovers, stay drunk." Well, I stay in the
What?
spirit zone is what I do. I don't have too many hangovers because I wake up and that's all I think about.
No more drinking.
I don't
Day
think
in
there's
and day
anybody
out.
in the room here that drinks.
Yeah,
I do.
This side. I don't know about the-
if I have to, But I'm gonna share with you a secret that only us old guys know, and you may want to.
Yeah,
try
and I
it.
am old.
I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to get around to do it. It is to take some aluminum foil Take
I
your.
thought there was a guy behind me that's old.
Oh no. I'm the old guy. I'm the old guy.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You take aluminum foil, and you put it. You take 30 sheets and make sure it covers your entire cranium. Okay.
Shit, aluminum foil is expensive.
30 sheets. Go down to the dollar store. You go down to the dollar store and just rip it off, and then put it on your head. You know, after you put it on your head,
Got to
you
be
wanna-
riveted
you wanna cut
together
it.
too, right?
Yeah, you have to glue it together, and you
Yeah.
cut it,
You rivet it.
and then you put it in your hat.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Yeah, it's
And they
called a
can't
tin
read your
foil.
mind.
It's a tinfoil hat.
Yeah,
Wow, I've
they can-
never, honest
yeah.
to God, I never knew that.
but it has to be 30 individual sheets.
Yeah, it's like
And they cannot read your
Wow.
mind.
It's
Now
like
they'll read your intent by your nerve endings, by your
Who
spinal
can't
cord,
read your mind?
but they won't be able to read your mind.
Wow.
Who?
Wow.
Aliens, ghosts.
Whoever,
Oh,
wherever you
I
are.
want
Yeah.
him to.
it's
Yeah.
like
Oh my God,
Magneto's
that's
helmet.
amazing.
I
Right.
want to.
I never
want him to
knew
read
that.
my mind.
If you've seen Magneto,
Yeah.
and he wears
You
that
do what
hat,
you
so
don't
no one can
sometimes.
get into his head. So it just, but in my world,
That's so.
I'm cheap, so I use aluminum foil, and you can with 30 sheets, individual sheets that cover your cranium, reduces the ability for them to affect you and also read your mind, and that's
Okay.
Oh my God.
from the
Wow.
hardcore. That's from
Every
the
time I have
hardcore
the
guy
helmet
who.
on, every
That's
time
some
I
old
have
school
the helmet
shit.
on, Christy calls me Magneto's brother.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Carr, that's what you got to do to go ahead and come up with the perfect aluminum hat,
Yeah.
like I told you. And then
Yeah,
the antenna can go through the middle too.
Yeah. Now everyone laughs at the aluminum tinfoil hat, but there's actually some truth to it, because let me just tell you.
I believe you.
The
I
basic
think you're
reason
being serious.
is that microwaves cannot penetrate aluminum foil.
Right.
Exactly.
If microwaves cannot penetrate it, neither can the consciousness. It has to go around it. Now, I've seen consciousness go through walls, go through floors, go through people's necks, come out of people's necks. I've seen entities do a lot of weird stuff, but if you put that on there, you got a good chance that they can't do anything to you. Now,
Well, if I'm feeling negative energy or like really something bad, I'm gonna try it if I have enough,
Yeah.
Reynolds wrap. I'm
yeah,
gonna
get some
try it.
Reynolds wrap. Go down to the dollar store, Dollar Tree, or whatever. Buy you some cheap Reynolds wrap.
It's worth a shot.
Breaking out the God helmet. Yeah. There you go.
Wow.
There it is.
You learn something new every day, don't you? Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that's unique. Now, I could get into a whole show about protection, how to protect yourself. But Anthony, I need you to do one thing, and just to make sure that you take every advantage you can and
Part two next week.
because they've already manipulated your mind. So then now they're going to manipulate something else. You see what I'm saying? And but man,
Be careful of that.
I've seen guys go into a haunted house and virtually come to fisticuffs trying to get out. You know what I'm saying? So protect yourself all the way through. That's all I can say.
I agree.
Yeah, with me, I always told from after the first time, every time I left, I would tell my wife and my daughter, says, if I don't come back, it's either I got lost and I don't know how to get back, or I got taken.
Yeah.
And I really mean it. I mean, that's something that I tell them every time I leave. I says, and then they'll just say, you'll come back. You'll find your way. I say, well, if I don't, then I can't find my way, and I'll meet you somewhere. But that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just always leave your location when on an investigation. Don't ever do it by yourself either.
Hey,
I've gone in by myself.
I'll catch
I know you have. I know.
I'll catch
I do
Craig.
practically everything by myself.
Yeah. Well, you do it all by yourself till somebody believes in you, and then you got a whole tribe of people saying, this is the coolest thing ever. So, you got to cut your evidence first, and then
Oops, sorry.
come into play. But yeah, I can get a whole show on what to wear, how to wear it, how to protect yourself in these high energy zones. And don't ever think that your mind by itself is uniquely non-susceptible to all this energy. An MRI machine, power lines that run across the road affect your brain just as easily as these entities do, and just as easy as these portal zones, energy zones are. They affect your mind all the time, and that's living proof. You should write a book, Anthony. You should write a book.
Well, actually, I was told that the other day, and I said, I can't write a book that I just started. I mean, even though I have,
You've already experienced 20-fold what anybody
That's
else
right,
has.
20 volumes. That's
As
right.
far as that forest is concerned.
yeah.
Right.
And actually, I'm always only just tap into it. There's still stuff that I don't even talk about yet. I have footage on.
What you got to do now is you got to have somebody that's a student of yours that takes over, so that you could do the writing, and they
So I
could
can
do that.
disappear and go off into the Netherland, and he can stay behind in this crazy world. Yeah.
Right.
No, I got audios. I have footages. Like I said, that daytime one, that is an awesome one because I haven't seen people come out with a portal opening and closing during the daytime. And I did it live. I was live when I did that one. And it's actually on Facebook.
There's some
It's on my profile.
amazing catches that you have on what you showed us that one night.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. And I think that if you went ahead and you took one of the best haunted locations in the United States and put it up to that forest, I don't know which would come out first.
Yeah. And there's a whole lot more. I mean, like I said, we'll be going back here pretty soon.
Because there's so much more involved in the forest. You know what I mean? It's 10 times what. Dr. Lynch, you're gonna have a cold dinner by the time you get to it. You know that.
Yeah.
That's what microwaves are for. That's what microwaves are for. So
I just feel
I'm not
so
worried
bad.
about that.
Where did Josh go? Josh
I don't know.
left.
Did he bump out?
He must have. Well, but that's the thing. Now, when you really think about that, it's awesome to have you on, and I wasn't being disrespectful to your brain scan back there. I just thought that was the first thing that hit me in my head and then I said, "Oh no, it's a scan."
Oh no, that's your consciousness right there. Now that was taken with just a regular standard camera, and I analyzed it by color analysis. That's all that is. It's just a regular photo by color analysis. And the computer that did that did not know what energy it was looking at. It just assigned a color to similar proximity energies. So as far as we know, that's as close as we can get. I mean, I'm pretty smart kind of guy, but I can't crack that central matrix, and I've tried for years. Years.
Carol Garcia says, "I love your background, Dr. Lynch."
There you go. And that's just one small piece of the puzzle. And that's what's so crazy about it.
That's unbelievable. Well, Roger, you gonna pull the pin?
Man, I just never want to. I think this is so fantastic.
It's
tonight.
20 minutes after 10.
Great.
Do you have a Facebook, Michael?
Yes, I do. It's under Michael Lynch.
Okay.
And you'll see my black and white photo with paranormal news.
Okay.
I would find it an honor, Michael, if you'd come on again. one of these
Oh,
days.
Sure, anytime, man. I'm just sorry. I was just out of town for like 3 or 4 days, and so you just kind of caught me at my desk, you know.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Well,
Perfect timing.
this show is technically 7 to 9 Central,
Mhm.
and then I said technically we lost time. A perfect show to do it on. And then Thursday, of course, we have our perfectly normal paranormal communications from 6 to 8. And anytime that you want to come on there, you're more than welcome.
Sure. Just shoot me a message or whatever, and if I'm available, I'll be here.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I've never turned down an invitation so far. So
It's perfect.
okay.
I just sent you a friend request, Michael. That way, when I do go back, I'll message you and we'll see
You can pull him back.
Yeah,
He can get you back.
Yeah, he can tell me what he sees in there or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I just did that. So what you have is a natural vortex field or force. It emanates from the earth. It's strong enough to give you wipe your mind. It's close enough to wipe your mind. But there's no extraterrestrials there. This is all entities. They're all ancient American. I'm not ancient American. They're native entities in that habitat because that's easier for them to be there. Okay. So whatever that environment is, it is sustaining them as well as now when they download you with information, they're downloading you with spiritual, ethereal information, not celestial information. There's a big difference. So all the downloads you've got are dealing with ethereal energy, ethereal information, knowledge, all that. And it's from shamans that lived on that property.
So how are you spelling that?
Ethereal?
Yes.
No. Oh, ETH. Oh man, you got me now. My brain's somewhere else. Ethereal.
No,
ETH.
ERNA.
Yeah, AL.
But it starts with an E.
ETH. Ethereal. Yeah, ethereal. Now there's celestial, but that deals with extraterrestrials, little green men, Venusians and yada yada yada. Ethereal. There it is. Yeah, that's like ether. It's like the ether. It's where we get the word ether. Ether, but it's ethereal. Yeah, and that's all ethereal information that you're getting. So nothing really to fear. You just got to be grounded and smart, and then you'll be fine.
Oh, there's still the lights and the other part about it. Like I said, the UFO kind of thing. The stuff that I never believed in. I never believed in abductions or UFOs until I went in there.
Oh yeah, they're real.
Better.
Yeah, they're real.
They're there too.
Yeah. When you come back like the next day and you wake up, you look on your back, and if you have these little scratches or kind of like scabs, that's extraterrestrial. If there's scratches, that's ethereal. That's your ghost is scratching. But if you have a scab or a scar or a cut or a needle injection,
I have it on the back of my neck.
Yeah, that's extraterrestrial. Yeah.
Now
You may have a chip. Oh, let's find out.
I have one right in the center, right in the center of the bottom of your cerebral cortex, where it's at. Right, that soft part, right in the back of your neck, right there. I have one, and then I have one right next to it on the side, and then one on the other side. So it's kind of like if you lay your skull like this,
Okay.
So you got me kind of curious.
They've got you chipped, and it's the Pleiadians.
Yeah, I've been trying to take out that chip.
Can't.
You can't.
I tried to.
Maybe another one.
I literally have tried to dig that thing out.
Now you and Dave Scott have got something to talk about because Dave Scott's up in Canada on a radio show.
Yeah.
And he's got a chip in the back of his head. It's an earthen chip, looks like a meteorite, right back in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Now you've got one too, but it's a different source. Now the Greys are the only ones that used to do that. The Pleiadians never did that, are not used to do that. But They normally don't. They just read the signature of your brain waves. So everyone's thumbprint is different, everyone's brainwave is different, and everyone's heartbeat is different. Okay.
Man.
And anyone of any higher spiritual capability can look at that and say, that's Mike, that's Greg, that's Reginald, there's Anthony. And if they can see that energy, that is exactly what they're going to deal with. Okay. So if you've got a chip and you can't deactivate it or you can't remove it, because a lot of times you can't be removed, you just got to learn to live with it. And they're just going to monitor you and follow you. And
Well, yeah, because I've caught on to it. I caught on to it a while back, and then it pissed me off, and then so because I can feel it, and then where it's at, I know what's there, I may not be a doctor, but I know what's behind there. And it's like, okay, you stuck me right there where the cortex is at. Okay.
Right.
And this is not coincidence. This is not a bump. It's not a fever bump. No, I know what this is because I felt it before, and I still have it right now. And then I'll have two on the either side of them, right behind my ears, right here. And so to me, it's like because I catch on to that. You know what I mean? I've gotten smarter. So
well,
yeah,
don't get an MRI. Get an X-ray because an MRI will try to rip that right out if it has any iron in it, any metallic. The MRI machine will pull that right out.
Got me all kinds of curious now. I know I've got a few spots on my body, but like on my cheek here, there's a scab, and
that could be a biopsy.
Well, it showed up the month that I started feeling like itchy on the sides. And then after the itching went away, I lifted my shirt and I saw scratches on my sides.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the very beginning of my awakening. And then this showed up on my cheek. And I can take that, wait for it, take the scab off, and it comes back. It constantly comes back. It's been 3 years, or no, since 18. It's been 5 years. And that scab has never went away on my cheek.
If it's not a virus or a fungus, then I'd have a dermatologist look at it. But what it sounded like to me is like they did a little biopsy, and that's all they needed. And then it takes a little bit longer to heal up. Now, if I'm talking to the audience as well, this is just FYI. If your ribs itch, like below the skin itch on both sides or either side, look very closely, because you'll find needle marks where they've gone between your ribs and then into your body. And then they pull out the needle or the camera or the catheter or whatever they're going to use, and they pull it out through those needle marks. And so they heal up on the surface, but below they will itch like demons. I mean, they itch. They don't.
Well, that might have been what happened to me.
It's just an itch.
That might have been what happened to me then.
Yeah.
When I first got into my awakening, that's when the light bulb box came off the wall and everything else at work.
Yeah.
Now I was hearing my name out loud everywhere I went, like audibly out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing UFOs everywhere.
Now, Dr. Mike, George says, Dr. Lynch, look what you started.
We'll continue this on another show. If you guys are too tired, I understand. But I'm just saying,
I never wear out.
How we do our surgeries is we'll go through a vein. We'll run a catheter through a vein, and we'll either use a balloon to open the vein or whatever. We'll do the same thing with a biopsy. We go in there through the veins or through the tubing, and then we'll take a little piece of your liver or spleen or whatever we're biopsying. Grayson, yeah, sure. Yeah, they do cattle mutilations all the time. That's their free lunch. They take the plasma of the cow, the blood and the hemoglobin and the plasma, and then they lay in it. and their body absorbs all the nutrition from that cow's plasma. And then that's how they eat. Now, they do it about once a week, like a vampire, sometimes twice a week, but they need the gallons of plasma in order to submerge themselves into it.
And then they got to take a shower.
It's like it's like a bathtub, big bathtub full of cow blood, and then that's how they revitalize themselves. So
then they take the shower, right?
Yeah, well, they take a little bit of shower. Their skin is like a frog, an amphibian, and they have a mucus on the outside of their skin. If we touch them, we'll get like warts or some type of fungus infection. And so if a gray touches you without wearing gloves, you'll actually have a burn. It'll look like a burn on your skin where they've touched you. And well, I don't have it here, but anymore. But anyway, I had something like that on my arm for like 4 or 5 days, and then it just, went away. But their mucus on their skin, we're highly allergic to us. It's acidic to us. So once they touch you, it's going to be a burn or leave a mark. Leave a mark. But anyway, getting back, make a long story short, yes, cattle mutilations are going on. There's been over 100,000 mutilated cows from California to Pennsylvania. And every year there's about 10,000 cows mutilated. And it started back in the 70s or maybe late 60s with Skippy the horse. And and grays are the ones that use the chip. The Pleiadians don't, and the Orions don't anymore. So if you got a chip, that's serious business. That's something that they're tracking you on a hour-to-hour daily basis, and it's transmitting out into space at 1.6, 1.8, sometimes 1.5 megahertz or gigahertz or whatever, transmitting out, and they're using your electrical body to do that. Now, if they wanted to manipulate you, all they have to do is send a signal to it, and you don't even know what time of day it is or your name.
You see, Chris went ahead and said, Chris Carr, he said, don't forget to hit the like and bell for notifications when a new Dark Horse Paranormal podcast show is on. So this is a new one, basically, right, Reggie? How many episodes we got? 2, 3?
I'm not sure on this one. It's been 3 or 4 weeks at least.
Three or 4.
And the reason why it makes me so mad when it came to me like that, like I said, I never saw. I didn't get this information from any show or anywhere. It just came to me. You know what I mean? That I knew what was going on. Okay, I said, okay, I'm catching on now to y'all, because now I'm going to another place now that got me to that. And for me, it feels like they hold me back, and that's just the part that makes me the maddest right now, is because I can't evolve to my full potential right now, which I'm there, but then something knocks me back down. There's some days that I can catch. I got it. I finally got that one last piece, and before you know it, it's gone. And I know it's this crap. I know it is. I know that I felt that something shuts me off again. And so to me, it's like, okay, why me? Why do you keep shutting me off? Okay, if you're gonna be taking stuff from me, then give me what I want. This is the argument that I have with whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Can't you write it down?
Well, the thing, it's not writing it down. It's me. It's my whole thing.
Okay, your whole being.
Yeah, they stop it from me going, because I have a lot of abilities and they're strong. I mean, even going to get into all that I've had before.
Right.
It's just now that everything's heightened, gotten updated more. But that's the one thing right now that makes me the maddest is you keep taking stuff from me and you stop me. Why are you stopping me from me going to this next level You know, and so if you're gonna take something from me, then give me something back. This is the argument that I say.
Okay, you're going to lose that argument all the time.
I know.
They've got the game rigged, and they don't want you to release any information that they're not ready for. And they don't want you to become a target. So if you go out there and start saying a few things, then Big Brother comes in and says, "How do you know all this?" And guys in black suits and black Tacomas pull up in your yard. You know what I'm saying?
I just had my last podcast get taken down.
Yeah, and they will. they will. They will go through.
That's what I'm worried about when it comes to doing the podcast on solving cold cases and that.
Right.
I get my answers. It's from the heavens, if I solve too much stuff or something gets really deep, I'm real nervous about, the government and everything else trying to do something,
Oh yeah. And it's a very, okay. The only way I can describe this is this way. It's a very shadowy game. They don't want man to reach his full potential. At the same time, they want to protect themselves. So it's a give and take. I'm going to give you information. You're supposed to take it and evolve, but not share it. And don't spread it around that we're giving it to you, and everything will work out. It's a shadowy game of give and take. But they will, what they do not allow will never happen. What they do allow will flourish. If Reginald got up tomorrow and said, "I want to run for president," and the ETs said, "Yes, I think you'd make a great president," he would be showered with money and gifts, and people would come into his life and shake his hand. And that's just the way that would happen. And if they don't want him to run for president, he'll never make it out of the garage.
Well, I'm going to keep on attacking that.
No. You want to be friends with him, but you don't want to push him. We only have about 20,000 pieces of DNA. They've got 30 to 40,000 pieces of DNA. You see, you want to be friends with them. You want to like them. You want them to like you. But the point is that they have the rules. They have the gutters at the bowling alley. And if they don't like what you're going to do, they're going to put your ball in the gutter. And
I'm a pro bowler though.
Yeah, but that's a fact.
I'm literally like a semi-professional bowler.
Well, yeah, but I tell you, you're going to have an off day, and that's going to shake.
Bring them gifts, Anthony. Bring them gifts.
Give them an offering.
I'm going to give them an offering. All right.
I'm tired of just say, anything but a
Anthony.
Anything but a fatted goat. Give them anything but a goat. But I'm serious. If they are monitoring you and you're going to release something that they don't want, it ain't going to happen. And I don't know how Linda Moulton Howell and some of these other guys, David Hatcher Childress, Giorgio Tsoukalos, I don't see how they are even on the air if they're really involved in the extraterrestrial situation. Because if they were really involved, they'd get a big sign that'd be written on their forehead while they slept saying, "No more from you." And then that would be it. Yeah. Yeah. And believe you me, man, they are in control. Absolutely, every day, every minute.
Yeah.
And the only thing I don't understand, which I do understand, but I don't like, is okay, Vladimir Putin has got cancer. He's gonna die. He should have died last year. Okay, he's still alive for some odd reason. And I turn to these extraterrestrials and I go, dude, why isn't he dead? What agenda does he serve? They won't tell me, but he's alive. And I know by every textbook ever written on cancer, he should be dead. But he's alive.
No.
Got me on that one.
Good night, Irene.
Good night, Miss Calabash, wherever you are.
Man, this is such an awesome show.
Yeah,
It's
Anthony,
like
we'll
one
get-
of those shows I don't want to end.
Yeah, I know, but I'll tell you. But okay, the line between extraterrestrial and ethereal, or celestial and ethereal, is that one is corporeal. The extraterrestrials are corporeal sometimes, and the ethereals are not corporeal. That's the only difference. But the energy they use, the way they manipulate that energy, is the same on both sides.
Wow.
There's one particular recording I have when I was going after a case, cold case, and they told me to keep it simple. Tell us we're angels from heaven. And that was one of the things that they told me on my recording. I mean, when I made the call. And so I've got a lot of recordings that indicate extraterrestrial, alien. I've seen a lot of UFOs. I see winged beings in the sky.
Yeah.
And the whole nine. It's pretty awesome.
You know, there's
Well, if it's energy and they're both the energies, I've learned how to manipulate energy. I've learned that since I was like a little kid. And I have, I haven't even told you that story, but I won't even get into that. That's so damn long. But since I was 5, I died when I was 5. When I was 8, everything started to happen for me, and I was never told anything, so it just grew and grew and grew. It just evolved. All my abilities just. By the time I was 15 years old, I was so far ahead, I don't even know. So I learned how to manipulate energy at a very, very young age, and now, of course, I'm 55, but going into this forest, I'm actually gotten younger because I've been, diagnosed with diseases. I don't have them anymore. I can still jump fences, which as I'm known. I give my 30-year-old members a run for their money,
That's
but now it's just like I said, it's even with the energy. So, because I'm trying to crack this, I'm gonna crack it
yeah.
because I'm these patterns now that I've learned about the way this matrix works, they drive me up the wall because I see them and I'm on it and I'm on it and I'm on it. And I'm even playing with the time. Maybe if I 1 second before, 1 second after,
I totally are on the same page with you on that. I figured out that the only thing that you can't reverse physically is hair color and like if your teeth are going bad. But I feel 20. Now I was in a lot of pain before my awakening. My knee from all the years of bowling, my lower back from a car accident. I feel 20 now. And my goal is to break the world record for the world's oldest human being. And that's going to happen. And so I'm hoping.
Well, fellas, I'm gonna have to jump off because I do have to get up.
we need
to. This
cash out.
I thought that was all your homework, Dr. Mike, that you had on your
Yes. Okay. That's what I'm telling Anthony. I keep my notes right here. And if there's anything on the internet or anything that's being published that I have to read, I write down notes, footnote, everything. And if it jives, I put it in my lexicon. If it doesn't jive, just throw it out. But technically, I don't throw out anything. Even the bad math and physics, I don't throw out. But when you're doing this research, don't just do what makes sense to you. Do everything, and it will all make sense once you get down that road. Once you get down there, those signposts were there for a reason. And it's only the very delicate, sensitive person that's going to see those road signs and make sense of it all. You know,
As Linda Judd said, stay tuned for part 2.
This will take like a part 10.
yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, good night, Greg.
Good night,
Craig, and
Doctor.
thanks, Reginald, for
Dr.
messaging
Mike,
me.
it's been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony,
Yeah,
Yeah,
anytime,
we'll
man,
do this
anytime.
again for sure.
And I'm getting old, so some of my information is a little crusty. But gee whiz, stay away from that television stuff. That's going to keep you at ground zero.
I don't ever watch it.
I don't even watch it. I can't stand.
Okay.
I can't even stand the intro because it's just mess. It's just not. It's not.
People
It's
are
not the truth.
wonderful.
It's not the truth. But anyway,
Carol
hey,
Garza.
thanks, guys. I'll bounce.
Okay.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.
I'll friend you, and we'll get together, man.
All right.
Definitely get together.
I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm
Good
gonna
night.
get out here too, Reggie. I gotta go lay down. I am exhausted.
Good night, Reggie.
Okay.
All right.
Good night,
Have a
Anthony.
good night.